We're live. We're live. Hold on. We're live. Hello, people. How y'all doing? Yeah.
Goodbye. It was a nice stream.
Okay, Jeff. Yeah. Today we're going to be talking more about our favorite Marvel film, the absolute triumph that is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So yeah. Hello and welcome back, Madvocate. How you doing?
Yay! Thank you. I'm doing good. Thank you. How are you, Marcus?
I'm doing pretty good, Madvocate. Thank you for asking. Um, yeah. Before we get into the topic, because I know people who follow me on Twitter, me and Thought are definitely gonna be thinking about this. I finished watching Midnight Mass yesterday. Thought it was great, including the finale. Talked a bit to Edatron and CV. I disagree with the criticisms Edatron has brought up. Haven't counted them all yet. Because ECUM. I need to prepare for this stream. But yeah, I think it's a brilliant TV show and like just one of the best TV shows I've ever seen, which is pretty neat. I enjoy good stuff. Surprisingly, so But yeah, I really love Midnight Mass, and I'm going to watch it with the other people, the other hosts this week, hopefully, to show them the brilliance of it, especially episode 5. That episode was insanely good. Yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of Midnight Mass. But Zod and Tin, you both weren't in the last Shang-Chi stream. So I guess, Tin, if you want to go first, what did you think of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings?
Well, I know like once like I look more deep to it, I'm probably gonna hate it and just be on the same level as you. But as of right now, don't really care for it, to be honest. It's just sort of regular, just sort of average MCU gunk, if I'm honest.
That's fair. Yeah.
Not good at all. Like I don't like. I could see most of the issues like as soon as I saw it, but like in terms of on how much I hate and that it isn't on like Loki levels or anything like that. It's just kind of starlight, I suppose.
But it has a giant dragon. It's
That is
unique.
true. The giant dragon
See, I
should
thought-
save everything. Yeah.
I thought the dragon looked kind of gay.
Why?
Had no wings. A good dragon has wings. A gay dragon has no wings. There.
I'm glad that's the standard we established.
Sure. That makes a ton of sense, Tin. Thanks. Yeah.
I mean, it works. A dragon in Shrek isn't a lesbian because it fucks Donkey and it has wings.
I mean, that is true. Yeah.
Yeah, but she's a lesbian, not gay. So there.
But she's not. I just said
She's
she's
not a lesbian. Why are you contradicting yourself, Tin? Are you retarded?
I mean, yes.
Okay,
You
fair
already
enough.
got wings to that.
So if a dragon drinks Red Bull, Tim, does that make him straight? Is Red Bull conversion
yes.
therapy?
Red Bull is dragon conversion therapy.
Oh, based.
That's a sentence I never expected to hear, but okay. I guess, yeah. Zod.
Shang-Chi, way
Fucking
right off.
no, fucking the Nando video is playing.
Okay.
Stop playing. So Zod, what did you think of fucking Shang-Chi and the Legend of the 10 Shang-Chis?
It bored the fuck out of me. I really don't like it. I can't even say much more than that. It was just there was nothing to appreciate. But I liked the music during the last battle and that's literally it. Everything else I was just like, okay, this is just happening. I just wanted to go to sleep.
I mean,
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I almost fell asleep when I watched it in theaters. When I was rewatching for notes, I was just angry at the film, so I didn't really, just fall asleep. But yeah. So yeah, I get it. I just, few things that I'm curious on your takes. What do you think about Shang-Chi as a character? Guess ever one of you both wants to go first.
Tin.
No, uh, well, in terms of being a hero, he's kind of shit, to be honest. In comparison to the other Phase 4 heroes, he's probably the best so far. Which isn't saying much, but it's the best we got. But, like-
Sure.
But like, yeah, like I remember you mentioned like how it was kind of shitty of him to just leave his sister for like what 6 years. And just
More than that. It was 10 years. He just abandoned,
Oh, 10.
abandoned her. Yeah,
10.
yeah.
It's just like why? Like
Well, that's not
Just why
really
leave
the
it? Why-
worst part of what he does, but yeah, that is a really shitty
yeah,
thing to
that,
do.
that, that, that was the one main thing that stood out to me because I was
Right.
just most of the time I wasn't paying attention. I was just going, please God, can we get this over with?
Well, yeah, and it's
I
kind of
mean-
rough when the film is trying to tell you that he cares about a sister, that he's going to Macau to protect her from their dad, but he doesn't care enough to return in those 10 years to make sure she's still with their dad. Because as far as he knows, she still works for him, or with him. She's still part of the 10 Rings. But, you know, yeah. Shang-Chi's quite the genius.
Yeah, what the fuck, Sean?
Sean.
Bastard.
I mean, the worst thing he did was make friends with Katie.
Yes, I
Yeah.
hate it.
That
I
is true, yeah.
actually hate her. She was so fucking annoying, and the worst part is my sister kept on like saying, "Oh, she's the best part of the film,"
Ugh.
because me and her saw together. Because we saw it together, and I was like, "Please, for the love of God, don't do this."
Your
Please
sister's a
don't."
third abortion.
Oh, it gets better. It gets better. Honestly, it actually gets better. She said it was her favorite MCU film,
Bruh.
Yeah.
and that it,
Third
and that
abortion.
it was her best MCU experience since the first
That's-
Avengers.
Let's make it successful this time.
Good lord.
Dude, I went to see the film with like a huge Marvel show with a friend of mine, and he didn't even think the film was that good. He was just like, yeah, this is just a regular average Marvel film. Like, but your sister said it's the best thing ever. It's amazing. Best MCU film ever.
She said it's her favorite. Apparently, I don't know what she thinks the best one is, but
Well,
She said
most
it's her
people
favorite.
don't really care about it, the difference between favorite and best, to be fair.
yeah, I don't know. But just when
Yeah.
walking out, I just had to keep on had to nod my head and just go, yeah.
Oh yeah, when
because-
I discuss the MCU with that friend of mine, it's rough. I really just can't.
Because-
Yeah.
I can say like, oh, MCU sucks on Twitter, but saying it to her in the eye, I'm like, no, I can't do that. I'm not brave enough.
Yeah.
In work, when someone says like something's good when it isn't, I ask the questions, and then they get really awkward. It's quite funny.
Jeb is using the Socratic method to prove to his co-workers that a film is bad. That's extreme Jeb moment.
Seems about right.
Yeah. So what about you, Zod? What did you think of Shang-Chi as a character?
He went on the run from his father and changed his name from Shang to Sean. What the fuck?
Strategic genius.
Yes, he's a
He
genius.
says he tries to dismiss it by saying, "Oh, I was 15." What? 15 what? IQ? What?
Yeah, don't you love it how the movie lampshades you into saying like, no, he was 15. It makes sense that he was stupid.
Yeah.
It makes sense that he doesn't know the most basic common sense and strategy
Even
when
I
he
wasn't
was
that
raised
fucking
by
dumb at
someone like
15.
Wenwu.
Yeah.
Trained for years as
Trying
a
to be
assassin.
an assassin that can kill anyone with like any method ever, but he doesn't know that changing his name from Shang to Sean is not the best idea.
Fucking dumb cunt.
But yeah, why I ask is because I know a lot of people think that Shang-Chi is actually quite a pretty good character who goes in through an interesting arc, and that he's quite heroic, at least compared to the other Phase 4 heroes. He's a pretty good guy, which I disagree with heavily. Not only did he abandon his sister, but he just never turned his father into the authorities. Like, he knows the location for Wenwu's compound, and he just never tells it to anyone, FBI, SHIELD, police, whatever the fuck, which they would have taken him in as witness protection, which would have accomplished both of his goals, to get away from his dad and also stop his dad from, like, his reign of terror and would have freed his sister, but whatever. He's really dumb.
I think his dad's pretty nice, to be honest.
Oh no, yeah, I'd say he's probably the best Marvel character ever, just in general. It's pretty great.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
he just about beats Dreykov.
Of course. Yeah, Madvocate and I have been talking about Shang-Chi a lot in the past few weeks, and it's quite impressive how bad this film is. We keep finding new issues, and from a world building perspective, it's awful. But also from a character perspective, I think Wenwu is like a terrible villain in every regard. Yeah.
It's like every passing minute we slowly realize there's another issue that comes up, or just something that doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah, we got on a call so Madvocate could like clarify some stuff that he was confused about, and we just ended up finding like new plot breaking issues. It's so insane how terrible it is. Yeah.
I still remember the realization that Wenwu is as old as Jesus Christ.
That was quite the moment. Motherfucker's 2,000 years old, but nobody's ever heard of him except for Aldrich Killian, I guess.
And I guess he doesn't really have an influence on the world, despite the film claiming he controlled everything.
Well, the film also, the MCU also claims that Hydra and Dreykov controlled everything, so who the fuck knows at this point?
Just never coming across one another.
Yeah.
You'd think Hydra would at least, but no.
You'd think they would, in like, for example, let's say they were searching for the Tesseract, and so they, find it at the same time or something like that. That could have been interesting. But I guess Wenwu just didn't care about the Infinity Stones. He very clearly just wanted to dance with the Lee, and that was worth it.
Because he conquered all that he could.
Yes.
Remember? Which is like a portion of China, and that's it.
He has a compound in
Right.
China, and I guess he controls a few gangs. That's all he could conquer on Earth. The film is so bad. But yeah. So, with that in mind, we have a video to watch from our favorite content creator, Nando V Movies. If you all could join the watch together, because apparently only 2 of you joined. You terrible people.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I mean, you could probably guess who one of them. Well, both of them are.
Yeah, I know Madvocate is Madvocate and George Floyd is Jeb, but
Oh shit! How'd you figure it out? Right, I'm 15. I'm stupid. I didn't realize Madvocate is very similar to Madvocate.
I just timed Brett out for like either 5 minutes or 10 minutes.
I think it's 5 that timeout works, but why the fuck?
Funny.
Yeah, but I saw someone in chat asking us about what if we'll do an episode on what if a couple weeks from now, where we'll talk about the show as a whole, because all the episodes will be out by then, and we'll cover a video also from Nando V Movies because he's quite the content creator. But
To give you a tease, episode 6 is the worst episode.
I haven't watched it yet, but yeah, sure, why not?
Have fun.
Yeah,
It's fucking insufferable.
I'm just postponing it because I really don't care to watch at this point.
Let me just say this. Mantis is on fucking Earth having a party.
Why wouldn't she be? She's a mantis.
Of course.
Yeah, it makes perfect
Yeah.
sense, Chef.
Enough to do. Here you go. Brit's bullying me in DMs.
Nice.
You deserve it.
Anyway,
So yeah. By the way, Thought said he'd be like an hour late, so we'll just have to wait for him to arrive. Which by then we will also talk about more about Midnight Mass because I watch it with him. But anyway, the video is talking about how Wenwu is the best Marvel villain. So I am excited to hear these arguments because I'd say I
Me
kind
too.
of disagree a bit with that statement. But who knows? Maybe his
I'd
arguments are
say
so
I very
good.
disagree, but
Well, Madvocate,
Uh-huh.
we need to finish. We need to watch the video. It's not like you watched it before. You don't know yet.
right. Yeah, no. We gotta first watch through. Let's do it.
Yes.
Shang-Chi rules. Let me
Good start.
That's already
Their sound?
that's already a star. Gotta love the tentacle blade, by the way, the blade arm man. like he has just a blade arm, tentacle blade. It's so dumb, that fight. Whatever.
Let me get that out of the way right off the bat. It is a
There you go.
rock solid movie with an engaging story. Some
Wow.
Engaging story.
I've never been
Rock
less
solid.
engaged by a story.
I don't think I have. I think other than like the Snyder cut, they have never cared less about a film when I was watching it. It was pretty insane.
And the only reason with Snyder Cut was it was 4 hours of fucking nothing.
Oh yeah, like if the Snyder cut was all just that opening scene with the Amazons where they were fighting Steppenwolf, I would have loved the film because that scene was insane. I had such a blast making fun of it. But the rest of the film was just slog. Whereas with Shang-Chi, it's all a slog, and it's like half the runtime of Snyder cut.
fun leads and excellent pacing. And
Excellent pacing.
Oh, I didn't say that.
Excellent pacing. Do I need to mention the 2-minute scene where Shang-Chi talks to Katie's grandma and mother and brother, even though that scene establishes no new information and is never brought up again in the film at all for like a payoff or something? It's the most useless scene I've ever seen. It's just wasting 2 minutes. And then the 30-second joke about
It has
what they're
Asians
doing.
though, man.
Oh yeah, that is true. Then we have the 30-second joke with the flight attendant asking what they want to eat, which completely kills the tone and the pacing for that scene, trying to get a grasp for Shang-Chi's character. But sure, whatever.
yes, I am a Marvel shill. I default enjoy most of what
Oh.
they make. And
At least you're honest.
Good to know that he started off with that.
Yeah. I mean, at least, yeah. At least we know your arguments are going to be shit. You're just outright telling us, so thanks.
I enjoy the connectivity. I know some people have grown
Enjoy the connectivity. Then why would you
Um,
like Shang-Chi? It is the most disconnect film of all. That's so
And
dumb.
it literally destroys world building in the MCU.
That is what I meant, Jeff. Thanks.
I thought you meant it's just not really tied to anything.
Oh no, it is tied. I mean, it's trying to be tied by including Wong and Abomination.
Yeah, I'm not. Can we like not remember that? Can we just like no?
Don't you think this is the best characterization Wong has ever gotten?
Does he say
Absolutely.
that?
Yeah. I hope
What?
so, because it's fact.
Yes, it is a fact. Wong is fantastic in this film. Just love him.
tired of it. I get it. And I've also given up on the color grading, and they usually end with lots of CGI. but
Thank
I still
you.
have fun with it. In fact, in this instance, I was on board
Good for you.
with the CGI end.
Really?
What?
This
Why?
fucking brown table
Why?
cannot shut the fuck up about color grading on Twitter.
This is
The
insane.
CGI.
The CGI was
The
terrible.
CGI was awful. It was Snyder
In
Cut
fact, in this
levels.
instance, I
Like, look at. Okay, you can't really see properly on stream, but still, it does not look good, guys.
was on
Like, come
board
on.
with
Like, look at this green screen. The lighting is terrible. The lighting should be coming from above, and it's coming from his right. Look, it's so bad.
the CGI ending. I thought it was really cool. And the fight
Okay.
choreography.
Really
of
cool.
Shang-Chi
Wait, no, he's not gonna praise the fight choreography, is he?
Rules.
Oh, please don't.
Um,
No.
I'm certain
I
the fight
really,
choreography gets a pass for being really fast.
yeah.
Yeah,
It looks,
fast doesn't mean good.
yeah, it looks pretty neat because of the style they're going for, but doesn't make it good. Like I really need the Blu-ray to come out to actually analyze the choreography, but I really don't think it's good, especially the fight scenes with Wenwu, because he has the 10 rings and he just does not use them properly. I think I talked to you, Madvocate, about that. The fight scene he has with Ying Li, he just keeps closing the distance all the time instead of actually using the 10 rings as like long-range weapons, and that's how he ends up losing. It's really dumb.
Along with a massive "don't stop to watch" moment.
Oh yes, he just stops as she's doing her pose that fucks up that air bending, whatever.
hmm
I'm gonna
Just
say
watch Jackie
some of
Chan
those names-
instead.
No. It's so much. Shang-Chi is so much better than any Jackie Chan film.
Fucking kill me.
Oh fuck! I did not want you to do that.
Rules.
Wow.
I'm gonna say some of those names that pop up.
See, okay, sorry to pause it,
Wow.
but you could tell there was bad choreography there because they have the knife and they don't use it. Instead, they just twist their body.
Yeah, what the fuck was
In
that?
Shang-Chi,
He pulls out the
I'm gonna
knives.
say some of those names.
And then, what the fuck was that? Why would he do
Why?
that? What? That's such a dumb move. Just
idiot.
use the knives. There's a point where you taking out the knives. What?
Literally throw it like at the lower half of the body. Throw one of them if need be. Impale him.
Yeah, and that'll at least distract him enough so you can
About to
attack
say
with the
that.
other knife.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't he have the explosive thingy that he threw at the window? Just throw it at
Yep.
Shang-Chi.
That's exclusively for the windows. You don't get it.
Oh, okay. It only
Not like-
works
it's not
to
like
blow
they're
up
trying
glass.
to kill him.
No, you
There's
see,
a backstory.
no, it makes sense because Wenwu said, "I told my men that they wouldn't be able to kill you, so that's fine. There's no problem."
Because they're so stupid and inefficient.
I
That's
mean,
why.
yeah, if they had a fucking gun with bullets, they would have killed him. Or if at least they had knives instead of fucking taser batons, they also would have killed him. But you know,
Well, the reason being is when this guy was a child, he saw a window glass and he couldn't see through it, and since then he's got pissed off at him.
yeah. So he created a weapon specifically to destroy glass.
The
Amazing.
glass destroyer. He's going to destroy all the glass. He's going to the shard, this guy.
Pop up in every video I have seen about the topic. Here we go. Bill Pope, Destin Daniel Cretton, Simu Liu, Jackie Chan, Brad Allen, R.I.P., Police Story, Drunken Master, Mangar Zhang, and others. Those are the names that come up in every YouTube video I have watched about Shang-Chi. I
Okay.
don't need to sing their praises. They all did an amazing
Hold on. Can we just bring up how he said the lead actor has come up in every single video about the film?
I mean,
You think it would?
I
potentially.
kind of wonder why that's the case.
That's
Yeah.
like being shocked that RDJ shows have been a video about Iron Man. Like, duh.
That's hilarious. To be fair, I don't think on my video, I don't think I mentioned Simu Liu by name at any point. So you know, I'm the exception.
job. Simu Liu, man, he put in work.
Did he? He just so one note. He didn't do anything. He's like, yeah, that's
Yeah,
he
acting
exists.
had left much to be desired.
Yeah, other than Wenwu's actor, I forgot the name. Tony Leung or
Tommy
something.
Leon,
Leon,
To-
yeah.
something.
Oh yeah, other than him, I think every actor was just like whatever. And you know,
Yeah, I
plus
think-
Tony Leung is hot, so that already explains quite a few plot holes in the film.
I think give Simu Lee like a better director, and he could do a lot more. I think he has potential. He just did fuck all in this because he's probably given fuck all.
Pretty much, yeah. Like I don't think he's a bad actor. I just think he had nothing to work with, pretty much.
You can watch behind the scenes of him in these stunts, and my gosh, the difference between this and Iron Fist is night and day.
Why are you comparing to Iron? Okay, I'm like, what? Compared to Daredevil, like Daredevil also has martial
Yeah.
arts and it's very well choreographed.
Well, you say it can't compare.
Yeah, he
to
picked the
Daredevil
worst
because-
show out of all of them.
Yeah,
It's kind of a low
Daredevil.
bar.
yeah, like
Daredevil
even
versus Bullseye.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
even Defenders, it had like a hallway fight that was actually pretty well choreographed from memory. This is weird. I wouldn't have picked Iron Fist. It's like choosing the worst possible example to compare it to. Just be like, I see, it's better than this at least. It's kind of
And also, this is a TV show with a lot less budget. So you kind of expect better with something that's a full-scale project with more budget into it.
Yeah, I don't think they had Jackie Chan on board to help out.
Pretty much.
What?
Iron Fist over Shang-Chi. Yeah, Iron Fist is over Shang-Chi.
Oh yeah, Iron Fist is much better than Shang-Chi. Especially season 2. Season
Yeah.
2 is actually a lot better than 1. Not good
Yeah,
still, but
does
it's
that-
better.
There's actual characterization to Danny.
Yeah, and Colleen actually is actually like a pretty neat character. She's not great or anything, but she's, the best character out of the bunch in Iron Fist. I guess Misty
Pretty much.
would count as well, but I'd say she's more of a Luke Cage character. I say Luke Cage and the person called Carl Lucas shows up in chat. That's pretty funny.
But I'm going to focus on one guy. And I love me some Marvel villains of
Yeah, no, Zemo's great. Yeah.
Show Zemo.
His plan.
Yeah, no.
It's good.
Zemo's a strategic genius. It's fine.
ranked
Relies
plans.
on no security in the UN building.
Why would the UN have security, Jeb? That's insane. They don't.
I don't know.
They don't need security. That's cringe.
It's not like a terrorist attack happened.
No. Like, it didn't happen the exact same day, and they didn't just arrest the terrorist they think was responsible, right? That wasn't the case.
Definitely not.
I've made villainous scenes about him.
Hey, Loki's at least good. Oh no, Vulture's his favorite. I hope
Did he
he's.
say it was his favorite?
Yep. He says I have a few favorites. So
I've made villainous scenes about him. I have some favorites: Vulture, Thanos,
Oh,
Mysterio.
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 No, don't you dare
Have you
put
seen-
Ego in the same sentence as those. Oh my god. Oh no.
And does he mean 2018 Thanos or 2014 or both?
He showed Infinity War Thanos, so I assume that's the one he means. I mean,
But
there's still people who like Endgame
Yeah,
Thanos,
hopefully.
even though he's just the worst version of him in Infinity War.
Ego, Zeke Killmonger. Loki.
Killmonger.
Oh my god, what are your standards? And isn't he just listing every Marvel villain at this point?
we're gonna get Malekith. That's
Yeah.
what we're gonna
Oh,
get.
Malekith
From
is
like-
the best, yeah.
The past 5 years.
Madvocate, you're cutting off a lot. I don't know if it's just me, but
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
for
I
me.
heard it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let me see.
well, you're better now if you can just repeat what you were saying.
Oh, just that he like all the villains he listed were like all the ones from like the past 5 years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Aside from Loki, but yeah.
I mean, Loki was still around by 2018, 2017. Though I don't know if I'd say I'd call him a villain, I guess. In those films, I'd say he's more of an anti-hero in Ragnarok and Infinity War.
Yeah, he definitely, because he has the moment at the end of Ragnarok.
Yeah. So anyway.
Loki. I know, real groundbreaking stuff. But I really think there's a case to be made that Shang-Chi's antagonist, Wenwu, played by the incomparable Tony Leung, is not only the highlight of this movie, but maybe the best villain the MCU has produced so far.
What? No.
Imagine
he's a
thinking he's
highlight.
better than Ego and Loki, dude. I swear to God.
He's a highlight of this film, but like that's not hard to do.
Yeah,
and
the
that's only
actor is
because
the highlight of the
performance.
film. The character is what breaks most of the film.
Best villain. No. Ego.
Yeah, Ego is easily the best. And I just say that because I think Loki as he hasn't been a villain for so long that I don't know if I would consider him a villain. And of course, he was assassinated in his own show, so that also doesn't help.
Lovely.
So I want to make a case. But first, I need to explain why it is such a miracle that the character of Wenwu is even remotely coherent.
He's not.
He's literally around at the birth of Jesus Christ and still doesn't own everything in the world and has all world power. He's there when religion is there.
Yeah. Wow,
Hmm.
bruh, this is insane.
I can't wait to hear how he explains this.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. In this 18-minute video, which I'm sure is going to be full of coherent arguments and defenses.
Yeah.
It's not like it's just going to be 7 minutes about the actual movie.
No. You have no basis for that prediction, Madvocate. He's gonna.
No, why did I even say 7 minutes? I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That's weird. Anyway.
Because unlike most Marvel villains, Wenwu is not a direct adaptation of a comic character. He is instead a fusion of...
Well, Ego isn't either. I don't.
But a lot of them aren't. Loki isn't one-to-one with comics. Thanos definitely isn't.
There's no
Like-
fucking
Oh yeah, they
close.
completely changed Thanos' motivation from the comics in Infinity War, which I'd say is also for the better.
Yeah, because he was a simp in the comics, wasn't he?
Yeah,
was trying
he wanted to
impress
do that
Lady
to impress Death.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He wanted to put his
pussy.
dick in death.
yeah. That Death. Was,
Zemo's
I mean-
different. If we go by his standards, Zemo's different, Vulture's different, Killmonger's different. I'd say most of them, if not all.
Yeah, I feel like all of them are.
well, yeah. I mean, obviously they're adaptations, so it's the kind of thing where like, did they kind of just get the idea from the comics? But it's like, no, these villains are pretty changed. I mean, isn't Whiplash's motivation also really different from the comics?
Yeah, it's like they kind of have to be different if they're relying on the MCU universe, which is already very different from the comics.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Shandy brought up a good point. It's a surprise that Hela wasn't mentioned, and
Oh yeah, Hela's pretty
Ronan-
good.
Ro-
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ronan's
Ronan is one of the best villains, but it's just like he hasn't got much character. Like he's pretty thin, but he's functional.
yeah, he works for the story.
Yeah, like I don't think he's a fantastic character, but in terms of villains, he'd be like on top 5 at this point, considering how bad the MCU has gotten.
of two very complicated characters, one with a messy comics history and one with an equally messy movie history. So I guess this segment is a mini Wenwu isn't Wenwu. Fantastic. Let's start with the simple one.
This is just kind of worthless.
So,
Okay.
so his basis right now is it's not like the comics.
Pretty much, he said it's adapting from 2 different characters, and that's why he turned out so well. Which I'm not understanding how that's the case, but sure.
I just
Okay.
Yeah, just like why mentioning comics? This is so worthless.
In the comics,
I don't think he's using comics to defend it. He's just explaining like
no,
history, but then again, like
That's
people like us, we don't give a shit about this.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like I don't care that you're getting the comics, but yeah, he's just explaining what the character was adapted from, which fine, I guess. I don't care about comics. If you want to actually explain why Wenwu was a good character, just talk about Wenwu himself in his own film.
hmm
Would Red Skull be 6th? Potentially. There are people who say First Avenger isn't great, but haven't heard arguments against it yet, so I'm not sure. Who knows?
yeah, we've only heard one, and we had issue with that. Yeah, is it Supreme Sorcerer in episode 4? Is that the name? He's a
Strange Supreme. I think
Strange
he's
Supreme,
called.
yeah.
Strange Supreme. Yeah, he was a good villain, and even has like a arc where he tries to do the right thing.
So I guess wouldn't he be more of an antagonist rather than a villain? Because if he is redeemed, that's kind of a trait of an anti-hero.
I don't know, because it's a tough one, because his role is a villain as well, because he's there destroying the universe.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, sure, you could count him as a villain. He is pretty good, yeah.
John Walker's a good villain, unironically. He's a good character that gets shit happen to him for no reason. Or little reason.
let's start with the simple one. In the comics, Shang-Chi's father is a man named Zhang Zu. Kind of. He's the leader of an ancient organization, however, it is not called the Ten Rings, it's actually called the Five Weapons Society, so a little different, but, you know,
It's a hilarious
So
name.
much
The
more
5
lame.
Weapons Society.
So lame.
And that's the name of the title. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Five Ring Society.
The 5 Weapons
Weapons
Society.
Society.
Much better, Tim.
I wonder what the 5 weapons are.
I imagine it could be like the elements, like earth, air, or some shit like that. You know.
But no one if it's in the MCU, it'd be 5 tentacle blades.
Yes.
He's a naturist. Fucking cringe.
Yeah.
Right? Well, you see, back in the olden days of the 1970s, Marvel had the rights to an extremely popular character named Fu Manchu. And when I say really popular, I mean so popular that you've probably never read an old Shang-Chi comic, but you're kind of familiar with the name Fu Manchu. That's because this character was also used extensively in radio plays and books, and also his famous mustache beard combo that bears his name. When Nick Cage dresses like this in the Grindhouse trailer, he's rocking a Fu Manchu. But the character was also super racist, so Marvel did the right thing and renamed the character Zhang Zhu. Just kidding. The rights lapsed in Fu Manchu, so they needed to come up with a new name. I guarantee that if Marvel never lost the rights, Fu Manchu would still be around today. But anyway.
That was a really worthless tangent, but okay.
That was informative.
Thanks. I'm
Like,
really glad to hear that.
I don't think people look at that facial hairstyle and go, I know who that is. That could only be Fu Manchu.
Yeah, that's just a classic Chinese look that people have adapted into Western media to make it more distinct, so you know what kind of culture it's adapting. It's the same
And I
thing
like
with
how
those kind of like cone-shaped hats that the Japanese use. They're shown everywhere. It's just like, yeah, we see that, we instantly recognize it's Japan. So it's just same kind of principle, I guess.
And I like how he goes, oh, if they kept the rights, they would have still used them. I'm like, no shit.
Yeah, if they kept the rights, they would have used their extremely popular character. Well done.
Shang-Chi's from the comics is actually Zhang Zhu. A little confusing, but audiences will probably be able to follow the change since most of them don't know anything about Shang-Chi comics. But that's only half of it.
Correct.
In this movie, Shang-Chi's father is also the Mandarin, a character that the MCU has been hinting at from the very beginning with seemingly no direction. As you probably know, in the comics, the Mandarin is Tony Stark's archenemy, his Joker, or Lex Luthor. Part of this has to do with Tony Stark's early connection to East Asia via Vietnam, since his 60s origin had Tony getting captured in the Vietnam War. Like, every few decades, Tony Stark's origin is updated to be part of whatever the current global conflict is that the US either started or just made worse, most recently Afghanistan. So, Tony faced off against many East Asian enemies, including the Mandarin, a Chinese warlord with 10 magic alien rings, each of which granted its wearer a different superpower. Pretty standard stuff. And through the years, the Mandarin had a pretty consistent look, with the occasional extreme redesign, like how they turned him into a Greek.
What the fuck is this
just-
society? What the fuck became Green Goblin? What?
We're 4 minutes in, man, and there hasn't been a single argument.
He's building up to it, Jeb. He still has 14 minutes.
It's a nice little history lesson, something that CV would certainly appreciate, I'm sure.
Yes, exactly.
I don't. Maths is better than history. Fuck all you cunts.
Alright.
This is why. This is why math is better than history. You get to the point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Green
Nando.
Monster Man in the 90s cartoon where MODOK was a little baby. So Iron
Oh,
Man 1
MODOK.
comes out.
Well-
And hey, that's the 10 rings. Like the Mandarin. And that villain, he's got a ring. I wonder if he's the Mandarin. Or he's working for the Mandarin? Could be. And then Iron Man 2, apparently, the 10 rings gave Vanko his ticket to Monaco. They have their hands in a lot of different pots. And they're meddling in Tony Stark's affairs. Again, this has to be leading to something. So then we get a comic that, at least at the time, was canon. I cannot find anything official one way or the other about whether it is canon now, but during the events of this 2-issue comic, Rhodey, in the new and improved War Machine armor, goes to China to fight the 10 rings.
I did not know that. That's hilarious. That this was actually canon.
That. I Blood Iron Man 3 never deals with that.
Yeah. Amazing.
In fact, he's been tracking the 10 rings all over the world because they're such a
What?
big deal.
Bruh. That's...
What?
Then
What?
why wouldn't they be mentioned? Like,
And why would this be a prelude to Iron Man 3? Iron Man 3
That's good.
completely
Iron Man
contradicts this. Yeah. What? What the fuck is
Iron
this?
Man, Iron Man 3. Did they? this is like a completely different thing.
Yeah, what the fuck?
And they have a hammer tech tank which fires ex-wife missiles that work because, as has been
Huh.
pointed out to me by
What?
many people many times, and I appreciate every single one, the ex-wife was a kinetic kill switch, which means it wouldn't detonate under a certain radius to protect the user, and there is no way that 20 feet is the radius. So the ex-wife worked perfectly, Rhodey used it wrong, justice served. Anyway, and here's where it gets
Okay.
really messy. At the end of this comic, which takes place during the events of Avengers, we
What?
actually kind of see the leader of the Ten Rings, like just his hands, like Dr. Claw and Inspector Gadget. But he's a real guy and seems to be known as and is referred to by his subordinates as Mandarin.
Dude, this is insane. This
Wow.
contradicts so much. The fuck?
So during the alien invasion that we had, Rhodey was off fighting the Ten Rings, and none of that gets mentioned by Iron Man 3, despite it being apparently canon. And that I don't understand. And the Mandarin is around, but doesn't care about Trevor at this point. What?
The fuck?
Okay,
This is
sure.
sure, why not?
But then in Iron Man 3, we learn that the Mandarin is a title invented Killian. There was never anyone known as the Mandarin. And Wenwu makes the same point in Shang-Chi. And I can already hear some of you shouting, well, in the All Hail the King bonus one-shot on the Iron Man 3 DVD, someone working for the real Mandarin, who I think is supposed to be Darkhawk or something, kidnaps Trevor as punishment. Also,
that actor in BVS?
Justin Hammer has a boyfriend, first gay Disney character. Suck it, background character.
That's sure.
Alright.
Hey,
Wasn't ages?
I just
So,
came out in
what-
2013, which was the same year that Iron Man 3 came out. So, yeah, I guess the first
All Hail the
Avengers
King was
Hammer.
2014.
Okay.
Oh, it was 2014? So,
Yeah.
the season... No, it's season 3, right? That they introduced Joey? The
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
So that'd be 2015, 16. So yeah, I guess.
Okay, yeah, too late.
Yeah, so I guess Hammer is the first gay Marvel character. Well done, Disney. It's also
And they
just,
kind
in
of
it,
just
it's also just in a one shot that most people don't even know exists. But yeah, well done,
And
Disney.
it's not even in the main movie. It's like the mid-credit scene where it's like revealed that he's gay because the guy sitting next to him like puts his arm around him and Hammer says, "Not here, babe," and it's like during the credits. So it's like they couldn't even work it into the actual when it was taking place in the actual movie.
that's actually pathetic, Disney. Fucking
Not
kill
even
yourself.
in a one
Yeah.
shot can they get gay representation in the forefront.
China.
That's
China,
pathetic.
Characters holding hands and all the other stuff. And then in Ant-Man, we see one of the goons working for Mitch, whatever his name is, has a 10 rings tattoo. So they
And we talk
What?
about how stupid that is to tattoo the logo of a terrorist organization on your fucking neck
Yeah, why would you
I just
have a
do it
right
tattoo
before
of
the
your
point, do that.
organization?
on a very visible area that's not going to
Just
get
do it
covered up
below the
unless you're
collar.
wearing a turtleneck.
Do it on your penis if need be.
I mean, sure.
But like, I didn't realize this was in that man.
Me neither, but that's funny. It's definitely gonna be in my Ant-Man video now. That's hilarious.
Yeah, no one's gonna be. Seriously, no one like, hey, isn't that the fucking organization that kidnapped Tony Stark and terrorized that village that was on the news in Iron Man 1?
Yeah, isn't that the organization that tried to kill the president in 2013?
Yeah.
they are still a thing. The tricky part of all of this is that most audiences only know about the Iron Man 3 Trevor twist. As far as they are concerned, there is no Mandarin, and the Ten Rings is fake and was set up by Aldrich Killian. But canonically, there totally has been a Mandarin character in the background buying weapons and yellow jackets and tanks who also seems to have some sort of vendetta against
Bro, that would actually make sense if he was trying to get the yellow jacket and shit like that. In terms of creating his army.
But-
It's dumb in terms of the tattoo, but the thing of Wenwu actually trying to reach out to get more weapons actually makes sense. So that's like better world building in the Ant-Man than in Shang-Chi itself.
I can't believe Shang-Chi actually contradicted, like, trying to amass an army.
Yeah, this is hilarious.
That's another issue I've just found out today.
Yeah, thanks, Nando.
Iron Man. And the real Mandarin is Chinese, even though that is not part of the identity of the Ten Rings, and no one knows who he is. So why did Killian make up the Chinese name Mandarin for his white...
I got a better question. How the fuck did he do all that? How did he manage to know all about the Ten Rings like this to impersonate it?
You see, Wenwu is not very good at hiding his stuff, so that makes sense.
That is true.
I mean, yeah, he clearly
He attacks it.
he just clearly can't hide properly, so
He attacks it broad daylight. So
yeah.
you fuck! I was gonna send that.
terrorists who operate primarily out of the Middle East, since it did not come from...
No. So Nando's like, well, why did Killian make up this Chinese name if the Ten Rings is apparently in Afghanistan, whatever? No, in All Hail the King, the guy who works for the real Mandarin, the one who breaks Trevor out, he literally tells Trevor when he's holding the gun on him, he's like, there's somebody who'd like to meet you. And Trevor says, do I know him? And the guy says, no, but you took his name and now he wants it back. That's why that's why he named it Mandarin, Nando, because the Mandarin is supposedly a real thing. Killian didn't make that name up.
Yeah, but then Shang-Chi is
And
like,
then Shang-Chi retcons that.
yeah. Someone asking Chad who's better, Iron Man 3 Mandarin or Shang-Chi Mandarin. It's Iron Man 3 Mandarin,
Iron Man
easily. Even though Iron Man 3 is a terrible, terrible film, it is miles better than Shang-Chi. So, you know, that's the level.
To put it this way, the Iron Man 3 Mandarin doesn't destroy the MCU as much as Shang-Chi Mandarin.
Yeah. Even with the contradictions we've noted with Aldrich Killian, it's just like, no. Wenwu is terrible.
From Wenwu.
To give the best argument, Shang-Chi Mandarin has had the Ten Rings for over 2,000 years. Therefore, all the human history should be completely different, and he should be the ruler of it all and seen as a god.
Yes. I don't understand how there aren't religions that worship him at this point. Or, you know, the fact that Christianity exists the way it does, even though there's someone who can confirm what happened with Jesus. So, you know.
Yep.
Why the China connection at all? And I'm not saying this to nitpick, although I do have a nitpick for later. I'm just demonstrating how confusing the idea of the MCU Mandarin is. So we're adding Zhang Zu's confusing comic origin with Mandarin's messy MCU history and getting Wenwu. How on earth is this character supposed to work? He should be a disaster of canon and contradictions.
He is.
Right.
He is.
Correct, Nando.
Whoa.
If you put
Nando
two messy things together, it'll stay messy.
What? No, Jeff, that's insane. Wenwu could have saved Jesus and we don't know. He used the 10 rings to resurrect Jesus on the third day.
I really needed that Jesus alive, you know.
That would be hilarious. And then he's actually God. Like from the Christianity, people were praying to God, but it's actually just Wenwu with the 10 rings. That'd be hilarious. Fucking.
But instead, the filmmakers craft a character who makes complete sense.
Complete sense.
I really don't.
He's assassinated 5 minutes into the film, not to mention the world building contradictions. What? Oh, dear God.
To answer the question from Kronos about is this a Wakanda film where the conqueror just starts for no reason? Yes, up until he's searching for his wife that's dead, but even then that doesn't make sense because he saw her die and he was never warned about the soul sucking thing using dead people's voices.
Nope. Despite that being Talo's entire purpose over 4,000 years to contain a massive demon in a cave, Yingli never brought that up
Why would
to
she?
Wenwu while they were dating.
Love is blind, Madvocate. Love makes you forget
Yeah,
stuff.
really
Tawny
makes
Lee
you
Young
think
is hot.
what they would have talked about instead.
Oh, it's funny because the thing is, Ying Li. I don't remember. I think Shang-Chi says that like Ying Li told them stories about their past, right? And it's the kind of thing where like, whoa, if you're gonna tell stories about Talo, may as well just tell the most important one about why your village exists in the first place. But you know, Tony Leung is hot, so who cares?
He's a con who thinks all of the Iron Man 3 Mandarin stuff is stupid, so he doesn't really want to talk about it. Basically, a completely
Why?
new guy with a weapon that matches some flags from other movies, but that's it. It is genius.
How
It's not-
low is
Why-
your
okay, so
bar? Oh my god.
If he thinks the stuff from Iron Man 3 is stupid, then why did he capture Trevor? I mean, they say in this movie that he captured him because of his portrayal, but if he doesn't get if it's apparently inaccurate to how he is and he doesn't give a shit, then why capture Trevor?
Just you know,
Why
thinking
lock him
from
up?
a strategic perspective as well, it takes the attention off of his 10 rings, his organization, Wenwu's organization, if he just lets Trevor be captured by the by Shield or the FBI, and then they learn that Aldrich Killian created the 10 rings. And it's like the kind of thing where like, oh, so I guess Wenwu and the 10 rings don't exist, they wouldn't know that he exists, and if he wants to continue to operate in the shadows, that would obviously be the best choice. Like capturing Trevor only happens because they need Trevor to guide them to fucking Talo with Morris, because he learned how to speak Morris's language.
And for comedy, because there aren't a million other characters in this movie that take care of that, quote unquote.
No. They definitely just don't. Katie just doesn't just exist for being a comic relief character. She goes through an arc. She goes from not knowing how to shoot an arrow to knowing how to shoot an arrow in a day.
Well, honestly, if I was going to write Wenwu, I'd have to change the entire thing. But basically, during the blip, he manages to go on a power crawl by finding the 10 rings. That gets explained how. And he slowly goes on a power crawl after being exiled, I guess, by Trevor using his name and his people mocking him.
That could
I don't know.
work better, yeah.
Yeah.
Thing is, you need to rework so much to make this film work, because it breaks like at every step of the way.
It's just... It's broken from its conception.
Yeah.
But that's it. It is genius. So
No,
that's
it's
the
not,
backstory. First actual reason why I believe
Oh,
8
here we
minutes
go.
into the
Here we go,
video.
boys.
8 minutes into the video, we have the first actual reason.
Very proud of him.
Oh, dear God. Okay, come on. I'm ready.
Wenwu is the best Marvel villain. Wenwu has the best Marvel weapon.
Okay.
Are you...
Seriously.
In a way,
That's
he's
the
not
reason.
wrong. It's incredibly powerful because it makes you
in power
invulnerable to pretty much
level-wise,
everything.
Yeah.
I'd argue Ego's the most powerful, you know? When you're the power of a planet and a celestial, you kinda surpass.
Oh no, yeah. I mean just in terms of weapon. I guess Ego is the weapon in that way. But in terms of, because like, for Ego, he couldn't move away from his planet, otherwise he would age, right? He would just become human or whatever he says in Guardians 2. Whereas with the 10 rings, you can go literally anywhere, and it protects you from literally anything. Like it makes you invulnerable and immortal. You can fly with it. It's pretty insane how useful the 10 rings are. Which is funny because he didn't just use the 10 rings to fly over the bamboo forest, but whatever.
What about Thanos with all stones?
Oh, with all stones, that's definitely the best. He controls all of reality. But I didn't think we were counting that, because that's like the obvious, like, yeah. I just think it like,
Well, not to Nando.
well, he said best weapon. We'll see how he means that. Maybe he means from like the way it's used. I don't know. We'll see.
Wenwu
Yeah,
is
let's
the
see.
best Marvel weapon. The 10 rings are cool as hell.
Oh, that's a great reason, don't you think?
Absolutely.
They are cool as sure.
Next point.
Move over Mjolnir. Move over Stormbreaker. Move over Shieldy, the Captain America shield. That's probably what he calls it. Move over whatever the Eternals do.
Okay.
What?
We
Why are
don't-
you bringing
we
up
don't
the
know what
Eternals?
the-
Yeah,
why-
we don't
yeah.
know Eternals yet. The film is now, you monk. What? That's hilarious.
Why not just say move over to not Tony Suit, evil suit. Let's go with an evil.
One of the Eternals has super speed, and I cannot wait to see how
Oh,
he
yes.
uses it.
Oh,
We need
God.
another.
And they're deaf.
We need another breakdown, Madvocate. Like, we need your breakdowns of speedsters in media. They feel us.
Yeah,
There's nowhere to run. MCU edition.
Yay.
Glowy outlines. The 10 rings rule. It is a downright inspired move to turn the finger rings into arm bracelet rings. They're based on
Really?
Is that really a reason to call it good? You change the place where they are.
That's
Yes.
just superficial.
Well, I think he's going to explain it right now because it seems to be a reference to other movies. So let's see what he says.
I find this frame
yeah.
hilarious out of context.
inspired move to turn the finger rings into arm bracelet rings. They're based on the iron rings that are typically used for training, gets your arms strong and your forms tight, as seen in Drunken Master. But, like in Kung Fu Hustle, the best movie, you can also use them as weapons since they will protect your forearms from some weapons too. Also, they just look cool. And
Just
the
say
10 ring
so.
But it's worth noting that it's not the same because there's gaps in his arms.
Well, they kind of create a protective shield around his arm, like a fucking force.
Yeah,
field.
because remember he can like punch the gate just with his bare fist. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing it protects his arms.
Yeah, and when he's fighting Shang-Chi, when Shang-Chi hits him with the rings, rings hit each other and they have like this defense mechanism against themselves.
Can't I?
I
Can't
mean,
I
and he
just
also,
equally go?
he also creates that protective bubble around him when he's fighting the Romans in the opening scene, where not a single arrow is able to hit him. So yeah, they kind of just protect him against anything. So protecting the forearms not really the most important thing. Not gonna lie.
Like, can't I just equally go to this guy? Thanos has a gauntlet that's only made by dwarfs in a realm where they've all been sealed now, with the rarest metal from the dying star, and he has the stones that literally are kind of like the elementals of a universe, and he controls everything, and he can use them at a whim, even create nice little, reactive bending things, make people into noodles. I think that's cooler, I'm not gonna lie to you.
The rings are cool.
Yeah, they're bracelets, instead of rings, but they're called rings. Isn't that so cool?
I think that, quite honestly, I think they would look cool if they were actual rings.
Me too.
Well, yeah, the Mandarin from the comic only had rings, I'm pretty sure, from the loose research I did, because I was wondering why they were bracelets when even Trevor in Iron Man 3, his portrayal, he had 10 rings on his fingers.
This is like Miyamoto talking about Chris Pratt, he's so cool. But yeah, I think only in the comics and stuff, yeah, he has it only as rings, and they do look cool in design.
Yeah, you can do a lot with the design for rings. The bracelets, they look pretty uninspired, to be honest. Yeah, let's see.
Look cool. And the 10 rings are an incredibly clever weapon because of how versatile they end up being.
I agree, but that ruins the power scaling because he should not lose a single fight while using the rings.
Stakes are kind of fucked.
Yeah.
Also, if Vitical later is more versatile, bam.
If it has all the zones, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it can control literally anything in reality and space and time. So, a bit more versatile than rings, but just a bit.
You can use them to make energy blasts. You can use them to make a big punch. Or you can put all 10 on one arm to make the biggest punch. They also extend into this energy
That's
witch
so
thingy,
pathetic.
and then on the other
Yeah.
end, they can be a shield, or steps, or bars to swing off of, or they can help you hold on to something, or you can use them to do a big jump. The 10 rings seem to be limited to what a character can imagine. And since Shang-Chi has never trained with them before, they also seem to work based on instinct.
Yeah, which is dumb. Wenwu has
Oh,
had
yeah.
2,000 years to learn how to use the rings like the best way possible. Shang-Chi just learns it straight away. Amazing.
Yeah, I think most of us would just call that being a Gary stew.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's not good writing. I'm sorry.
You don't need to know how to use them beforehand. So if Wanda or Doctor Strange or Bucky got their forearms on these things, you assume the rings would work for those characters in ways that are unique to their individual fighting style.
Really? Because
But
Shang-Chi uses them the exact same way Wenwu does.
yeah,
Yeah, wouldn't that kind of destroys like making Wenwu special? Because it's like, oh, so he didn't train at all to learn how to master them in the 2,000 years. He was just good at it already from day one.
I guess he just happened to find the rings and was instantly amazing with them, and that's it. It's great.
also we know that for a fact sorcerers like Strange are going to be very useful with this because they're trying to figure out what the fuck it is.
Yeah. Well, they should be trying to figure out what the fuck. Well, they should be trying to find this because it's a weapon from a different dimension, as we see in the post-credit scene. But whatever.
Yeah,
There's no reason the Ancient One would look for other dimensional weapons. You know, it's not like she specifically says that the point of the sorcerers is to protect this dimension from other dimensional threats. Oh, I hate how the
No,
MCU handles
sir.
the sorcerers. It's so shit. I miss Doctor Strange. I like that film. I guess Caecilius and Dormammu were also like functional villains.
yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, just Casillas was kind of bland. Just to be honest, that's feeling.
Yeah, he was
That's the
really
only major
thin.
thing.
Yeah. But yeah, they work at least.
But the best part about the 10 rings is that they don't interrupt the flow of the fight. They enhance whatever the user is already good at. So exciting, well choreographed kung fu gets elevated to the level where it can destroy an entire army. But the core of what makes the fight work is still intact. And they lend themselves to some absolutely killer fits. Who rolls up sleeves on a suit to their forearms? Someone whose forearms are deadly weapons.
Really? Is this why you're saying Wenwu was the best villain? Because he rolls up his sleeves to show off his rings. Is that it? Really?
Can we point out we're 2 minutes on this point about an aesthetic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks so cool though.
And realistically, what makes a villain a good villain isn't what really they have. It's stuff like their motivations and characterization.
Yeah, like it's how they how their goals and their beliefs are established, and you know how their experiences mold them to be the way they are. It's just what makes a
Yeah.
great character, like in general. But for a villain, it's interesting because usually he's gonna clash with the hero's morals, and that's what
Yeah, like
comes from a lot of interesting interesting character development.
Ward, for example, is a great villain, but he's basically like a shield. Well, he was a shield agent, but he is basically a field agent, a specialist. But it's his backstory and the way he develops through the show that makes it so compelling.
Yeah, everything about his family and his brother, especially, is really great to see how he reacted to that. And then we have the scene with him, with Gemma and Fitz in season 1. You know the exact scene I'm talking about. That
Yes.
scene means a lot because of how he was characterized in that episode and in previous ones. So
And then how they elaborate on that in season 2.
yes, which Tin still needs to finish, you faggot.
Tin, I'm not joking. Kara and I are nearly caught up to you now.
And you said you'd have watched all of it by the 1 year
Shut up.
anniversary. No,
Shut up!
no.
Shut up!
Fucking do it then.
We
I'm gonna
believe.
watch some later tonight. I'm gonna watch a few later tonight, alright? Just to calm you
Just watch
bastards down.
4.5
sure you
seasons
won't.
in a week and a half. It's fine.
You can do it.
I mean, theoretically.
Wait. let me-
Theoretically, you're also.
Well, not really, because if you don't sleep for like a week, pretty much you die. So I guess if you sleep for 8 hours after 1 week, so you'd have time, 10. Just, get through it.
I mean, I did 3 seasons of The Flash in like a few days.
bruh.
So, yeah.
Why?
Yes, but I've got college pretty much all next week, so
Just watch
Yeah.
it during college. It's fine.
That's what I literally
Okay.
did with Daredevil and
college.
that. During my free time or like during lessons, I just watched stuff. I didn't give a shit.
fine. I'll do that then.
Fail
Okay.
your courses. This is more important.
Yes.
Yeah, I've already passed my buddy course.
See,
you got
exactly.
Me college is confused.
Well,
His section would work better if he talked more about how Wenwu's using them and how they affect them. He said he talks just about the weapons, not how they affect Wenwu and how he uses them. Yeah, pretty much. It should be about how
Yeah.
he utilizes his resources.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, like Nando was
except
saying.
he's brought up a point that is literally. There you go.
Oh, just really quick, he's bringing up how like they adapt to the person's fighting style, I guess, and I think that'd be kind of cool. But the thing is, when we first see Wenwu, he already has the rings and he's already mastered them.
And
Like, we
he's
don't know
already
what his
fighting the
fighting
same way he
style was.
fights 2,000 years
Yeah.
later.
So
Yeah.
it would have been better if there was some kind of like setup that established that it's different for every person, but it really doesn't look like that. So it kind of feels like Nando's pulling this out of thin air.
Yeah.
And especially when Shang-Chi was trained under Wenwu, which means he would have a similar, if not same, fighter style. The only way this argument would be valid
That's
is
also
if
true.
his sister got the 10 rings and she used it very differently.
But even then, she thought herself
Mhm.
to be like Wenwu's fighters, and she somehow is better than all of them somehow. But whatever.
Yeah.
When Shang-Chi is a weird film.
It really is.
Forearms are deadly weapons. It is a mean look that's tough to pull off if you don't have the weapons on your wrist to back it up.
I don't
Second
think-
reason-
Yes, if
I don't
you-
think a lot of people
I think-
have weapons on their wrist as their arms are rolled up. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, this. Whatever. I guess Wonder Woman has the meanest look because of her bracelets. It's like, yo, she's got her sleeves rolled up or her bracelets.
Wenwu rule. He's in it for kind of the right reasons.
What?
Wenwu really
What?
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 No, you're
do you
gonna
mean?
have you're gonna have to back the fuck out of that. That's insane. Okay.
for kind of the right reasons. Wenwu really had it all. He was a conqueror with a vast army and a bunch of vague weapon trafficking organizations, apparently, and he gave it all up, 100% for his family.
But he didn't.
Apparently.
Apparently.
He didn't have it all. We know this through Shield's history,
No, you
through
see.
Hydra's history.
No, Jeb.
sorts.
Jeb. Ian Lee says he had conquered all he could on Earth, so he definitely had all he could have conquered. It makes perfect sense.
Okay. The simp is right.
At times in a story like this, you can't take the warrior out of the man, right? The father figure is called back into the world he used to be a part of. Maybe because he needs to, or maybe because he just misses the fight. We're never sure, but the father gives up on his family so he can return to the world he knew. It's Brandy. His life, his love, and his lady is the sea.
Yeah, Ego is a billion times better. Don't you dare compare the two. You fucking faggot.
And also, don't use the ego metaphor. He literally does the opposite. He sticks to his goals.
Yeah.
That's why he kills.
Yeah, no, Brandy doesn't even
Meredith.
fit this point that he's making. He's just using it because he wants to be more meaningful with using Ego. But yeah, Brandy is like, even though, like, life, his love is even though he loves Brandy, his life is not that. It's the sea is what he was made to do. Whereas with Wenwu, he gave it up because of his family. Then his family died, and it's like, oh, so I guess I'm gonna go back to avenge my family. So he's still doing it because of his family. He wasn't called back. This is really
Yeah,
weird.
everything he does revolves around his wife.
Yeah. Yeah, he's doing it because he wants his wife back.
But Wenwu is really all in on family. He doesn't stray, he isn't secretly using the rings, no one confronts him and says, "It's us or those damn rings." It isn't until...
What? Hang on, no. Shang-Chi literally shits on him for picking the rings over family
Yeah.
and not being
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, he says,
Yeah,
do you
that's
think she,
literally the thing that happens.
even if you did manage to bring her back, do you think she'd take you or whatever?
Yeah, I
Like,
think
what do
he
do you think she'd want anything to do with you?
Yeah, that's it. Which
I
is a
think
dumb line.
he
But
even
whatever.
says I think he even says she picked those rings over us.
Yeah, I remember
I think he
I
does,
remember
yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think he
he
explicitly says that.
neglected Shaling as well. He said
Yeah.
Shaling says that he couldn't even look at her. So yeah, he definitely picked the rings over them. Wait, I'm confused. I'm gonna rewind because I think the point about Brandy we kind of missed it a bit. Like I think what we were countering is he wasn't making the argument we were countering.
Right? The father figure is called back into the world he used to be a part of. Maybe because he needs to, or maybe because he just misses the fight. We're never sure, but the father gives up on his family so he can return to the world he knew. It's Brandy. His life, his love, and his lady is the sea. But Wenwu is really all in on family. He doesn't stray, he isn't secretly using the rings, no one confronts him and says, "It's us or those damn rings." It isn't until Lee is killed and he believes his family is destroyed that Wenwu goes back to the only life he knows. He doesn't want to. Wenwu believes he needs to.
Not really.
Okay,
He doesn't.
so
need
we
to.
were making the right point against it.
Yeah, I'm confused. I'm trying to understand this. So his point
Basically,
is that Wenwu, he returns to the rings simply because he thinks he needs to, not because he wants to, but he does want to because he wants to avenge his family. He wants to avenge Yingli's death. So he does want to. He doesn't need to. Like it's not necessary.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
He's trying to make out as if once his family's like split apart, he goes back to his old ways as a criminal, like lord, whatever.
Terrorist leader.
Yeah, when in actuality he's got back to the rings and everything for family. Thus, the ego comparison he's making is not accurate.
Well, I think he's saying that he is not like Ego. That's what I got because he said, but Wenwu is in it for family.
Yeah, that's what I was getting.
Yeah.
Well, then he contradicts that very point here. But you know.
Yeah, this is a weird point because what he does is for family, but he also does neglect his family with Xiaoling. But okay.
Why does he need to be a warlord? Just kill the assassin that killed his wife. But
yeah,
that's kind of thing. Like that's all he does. He just goes to kill the assassin.
Well, the thing is,
he
trains Shang-Chi to kill the assassin who killed the guy who killed his wife, and then Shang-Chi does, and then Shang-Chi leaves, and then Wenwu for 10 years is just like existing as the leader of the 10 rings, and then he's like, yo, let's come back and try to get Yingli out of a prison because I definitely didn't see her dead body in front of me. No, she's not dead.
Yeah, and the justification to train Shang-Chi to do it is because Shang-Chi saw her get killed.
Yeah, he says that Shang-Chi was just stood there watching through the window doing nothing, which is all Shang-Chi's been doing his whole life. Which kind of strange, but whatever. I don't know why
when he was like 7, and that was before Wenwu even trained him.
Yeah, it's definitely Shang-Chi's fault.
I guess he just expected Shang-Chi to go in and kick everyone's ass.
Well, yeah, obviously. Everyone expected that. Shang-Chi fucking can take every single one of the Iron Legion gang easily. I don't understand Wenwu as a character. It's really strange because like I think the normal thing to think of is that he would blame himself because first off, no security at the compound for some reason, and that he just didn't have he wasn't there also for some reason, and if he was, he could have just won against them with the 10 rings.
Yeah, like you could have had a really interesting thing where he pushes his children away and goes on a path of self-destruction.
Yeah, like the film makes the rings out to be like, oh, he just gave up the rings because they're like, I guess the one ring from Lord of the Rings, but it's not really the same. Like he isn't corrupted when he's using them. He could have just continued using them to protect his compound if need be. It's weird.
And listen, another villain makes this move, it's easy to dismiss him, but Wenwu is literally an old school conqueror. I completely understand why he thinks this is the right thing to do.
What?
But unlike it,
What? So he's becoming a warlord again because his wife died, and he can understand it because he's old school. Okay, that's not an argument, Nando. You're just saying, like saying he's old school. He's lived for 2,000 years, therefore he would go back to terrorizing Earth simply because his wife died. That doesn't make sense. There's no correlation between those.
I like how, even if we agree he does have everything and then just gives it up, I like how he doesn't talk about the implications of a warlord giving all this power up and the vacuum that's left.
Well, all we have is the Iron Gang showing up, and that's it. Like, that's the most we get in terms of that world building.
Remember Daredevil? That was all about the power vacuum left from Battle of New York.
Yep. Yeah, Face Crisis to power because of the power vacuum, which I think is really neat. But world building, we can't do that in the films. We have to leave that to the shows.
Yeah.
it seemed in the initial trailers, Wenwu does not want Shang-Chi back because he wants an heir to his empire. Wenwu is completely driven by his desire to...
No, he says that he... No, doesn't he say he wants him to be strong enough to take the rings after him?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He does say that, but it's not why like he brings it back, but he still wants him as heir at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he said like one day they may be yours during like a flashback when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Wenwu is completely driven by his desire to reunite their family by rescuing their mother.
Which is why he tries to kill his son. That makes sense.
This is the big brain plan. I sent a postcard out as if like I'm his sister, then tried to kill him in broad daylight. And then I trap him after taking the pendant I need with his sister, and then I try to kill him again.
What a loving father.
Big brain.
Swear to God.
And keep in mind, this is 10 years later when Shang-Chi should absolutely not be at like peak performance for those fights, and somehow he still is.
Yeah, like Shang-Chi in theory would have had to continue training, and he just like he wouldn't have like it would have been out of character for him.
He wanted to stray away from that life,
yeah,
as far as possible. Why would he continue like training to be a kung fu master?
Yeah.
And the relationship between Wenwu and Lee is also completely believable.
Oh, it's believable because Tony Lee on the
wait, he's gonna explain. He's gonna explain right now. Just keep playing it.
Oh my.
They complement one another stylistically, and the few seconds we see of Shang-Chi and Xiaoling's childhood playing Dance Dance Revolution as a family suggests that mom and dad were happy together.
That
If the opening...
See,
I mean,
when I met
Dance
my
Dance
girlfriend,
Revolution. There it is.
when I met my girlfriend, we too did stylistic moves that matched each other.
we danced while we were fighting. As I tried to kill her,
Even
she tried to dance with me, and I just fell in love instantly.
Yeah, moving in with her next week. It all started from that.
Yeah. That scene is hilarious when he first meets Ying Li. Like, it's fucking insane how nothing makes sense. Like, he shows up, and then Ying Li says, like, yo, leave and you'll be spared. And then he tries to kill her, and then she wins, but she saves him at the end. and then he smiles, and next thing we know, they're having a picnic. It's just, and then next thing we know, they're getting together, and Ying Li is leaving the fucking guarding position of the entrance of Talo. It's like, why the fuck is any of this happening? It's just completely out of nowhere.
And can we point out the awful fight choreography here? Look how high up in the air he is, leaving himself open to an attack.
Well,
And look at her, not even looking at him.
Yeah, this is really poor direction. Think that's funny. Is how just like he continues closing the distance and closing the distance instead of fighting from afar, which would be the obvious choice considering she's been beating him hand to hand during this fight, like over and over and over. But when
You
was
remember
strategic genius?
You remember when Daredevil Season 3 had this, and what they did, they had Daredevil try and close the gap, but Bullseye try and keep distance.
Dude, I love the fight scene so much.
Yeah.
The characters are so smart. It's super cool.
Same here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The opening scene did not sell the idea that Lee is able to stop Wenwu in his tracks, that she is the only one for him. Then I don't think Wenwu's relentless pursuit of Talo to rescue Lee would work. But we see some genuine chemistry between Wenwu and Lee.
They tried to kill each other. What's the chemistry?
They were giving each other the fuck me eyes as they were doing it.
Yeah.
That's why.
Well, we know no woman can resist Tony Leung, so,
No.
That helps make an audience hope against hope that Wenwu might be right and he could reunite with his long-lost love.
But why would he believe that? He saw her dead body. He buried her. Wait, couldn't you just go to the fucking grave and dig it up and be like, oh, yeah, that is her body? Unless, I guess, they did one of those burials, like, at sea, where they burned down the body? I don't know. Like, yeah, this is so dumb. I'm confused.
He saw the body. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, pretty much. He saw her dead body in front of his child. His child saw her die in front of him. It's like, maybe she is dead. Like, how the fuck would they have trapped Ying Li, even? They would have gone to his compound. They would have created a fake Ying Li body, left it there, kidnapped the actual Ying Li, and trapped her at Talo.
And resurrect her somehow.
Yes.
That's it. I just realised what someone put in the chat. Like, that's a good point. When we attack Shang, we obviously know he engaged innocent. But more on Chai Ling, he destroys the place she's worked on for 4 years, and that's never addressed.
Yeah, they don't say a fucking word to him when he says, let's go home. They're just like, okay.
Yeah, they seem to just, like, be okay with Wenwu. It's super weird. And then the third act, Shang-Chi out of nowhere is like, I want to kill him. It's like, okay.
Like, their lives are destroyed by that point, and they do nothing.
Well, yeah. Yeah, and then Shang-Chi gets back and he gets lucky enough that Wong goes to him and he's gonna become an Avenger, but if it wasn't for that, they'd be pretty fucked. And Xialing now is the leader of the 10 Rings, because why not?
Yeah, boy.
And that's why the journey here is so tragic. He's not in it for greed or power. A Lovecraftian soul-eating dragon has tricked Wenwu into...
I just find it funny. A Lovecraftian soul-eating dragon. Like, we're talking about, like, some really personal character stuff, and he just goes, Lovecraftian soul-eating dragon. Yeah, I can see how the two relate.
Leading dragon has tricked Wenwu into freeing it under the guise of saving his wife. Now, not to nitpick, not unlike my podcast mostly nitpicking.
Okay.
You kind of figure at some point in their at least 8-year relationship, Lee would have told Wenwu
that's not a
about the
nitpick.
evil monster trapped in her dimension that promises you whatever you
That
want.
That's not a
changes
pick. That's not a
everything.
nitpick. That breaks the entire film. Literally nothing would happen as it does if she had told him. How's this a nitpick? What?
It's the fucking fundamental supports for this entire story. Her not telling him about her life
Yeah, if she
when they're supposedly so in love.
Yeah, her not telling him about Talo is what allows the entire plot to happen. Like, what?
Yes.
Bruh, fuck you, nitpick. I
Oh my
swear to
God.
God.
I hate how nitpick's just a misunderstood term nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah, like a nitpick is a continuity error or some shit like that. It's, this is insane. This breaks the entire fucking plot.
The tooth gap in TASM 2 is a nitpick.
It's not even a
To
nitpick
put
because it doesn't contradict anything.
I mean, sure. Sure.
Yeah. I guess the
Great example.
whatchamacallit, the fucking web shooters in Into the Spider-Verse changing wrists during that scene at Aunt May's house on Miles's wrists. That's an epic because it doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
It's just a continuity error.
Yeah, so that's a nitpick.
About the evil monster trapped in her dimension that promises you whatever you desire most, and how that thing that it's promising is a lie, and that's just the monster's cries for help. That would be a fun convo, even if she's not saying, hey, if I die, watch out for this. Just like, hey, you know what's interesting about my village? We have a monster tied up that lies to you. But maybe Wenwu is just a bad listener. I don't know.
Maybe Ren
He's
is just a bad...
explaining why it's not a
He spent
nitpick.
years looking for Talo. He spent years looking for it. Of course, he's gonna at least listen to something about it.
Well, that's the
Well,
thing,
we
because I
would
think it's
listen to his
hilarious, right?
wife.
Because he was looking for Talo and reading books about Talo, but not a single book mentions the entire reason why Talo exists as a place. Like, it was created to keep the Dweller in Darkness inside its cage, but none of the books he read mentioned that fact. So, okay.
And we're really going to argue Wenwu, who's in a very happy marriage, just doesn't listen to his wife about something so important.
Apparently.
I'm
Oh.
deaf, and I listen.
If my wife was telling me that a fucking monster that will lie to me and try to steal the most powerful weapon on earth that I currently possess, maybe I would be like, maybe I gotta pay attention. I don't know.
I completely missed this the first time I watched it. I don't remember this at all, but he's saying it is a nitpick, and then he goes on to explaining why it's not a nitpick. I can't.
Do you know how you probably set this up? But obviously, the issue is he doesn't know about it. But if you were to write it naturally, you would have her tell him about it to protect Shang-Chi from when he gets the rings, when Wenwu dies or something.
How do you mean?
So, Wenwu and her have a conversation about plans for Shang-Chi to get the rings someday.
Right.
And she tells him that, we have to warn him that when one of us passes or both, that this may tempt him, so that the 10 rings are kept safe with him. That's how I'd write it naturally.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Bad listener. I don't know. Either way, Wenwu's love for his wife was corrupted. Like Shang-Chi, he was driven in the wrong direction by grief. Because this is a Phase 4 Marvel property, and the theme of Phase 4 appears to at least somewhat...
That Sylvie moment is hilarious. I need to watch it again. That is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in the MCU. Every time I see it, it's so good.
Phase 4 Marvel property, and the theme of Phase 4 appears to at least...
Such good
Why would you
acting.
show that?
She just yells and creates a fucking small blast around her. It's so funny.
Also, what is she grieving in
She
that moment?
Yeah, what's the context? Because I haven't passed episode 1.
she's angry at Loki because he just ruined their chances of getting out of this planet alive. So I guess she's grieving herself. That's
That's a grief. That's annoyance, not grief.
yeah. This is so. I love this moment. It's hilarious.
Madvocate, I'm gonna level with you. Watch Loki up until this moment. It'll be worth it.
What episode is it?
It's 3, I think. It's the
Okay,
episode where
that's
nothing
not too
happens.
bad.
Yeah, it's the worthless episode where
Yeah,
nothing is achieved.
episode 4.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, you could
Well, I'll make a
actually just
video
skip
on it,
episode
sure.
3 and really just it would not change anything plot in terms of like plot wise. It does ruin a bit retroactively with giving Loki new powers, but you know that's fine. That's par for the course.
You could kind of skip the show. Just
I mean,
pretend
you
it's
can
not a
skip
thing.
every Disney
Yeah.
Plus show. They really just do not matter at all to the larger MCU.
I
Possibly
just like
better for
how
his sanity.
I like how Feige was like, "This is our plan. We're gonna have the multiverse no longer be a thing, but actually be one timeline. Then we're gonna end it with the multiverse be a thing, but Kang is still ruling over it. That's genius."
Yes. Now all different Kangs are controlling different universes. It's much better. Yes, 10 out of 10.
Big brain.
Phase 4 appears to at least somewhat be
I at least Supreme, Strange Supreme is good. So just that.
I mean,
grief.
he's picked up a good point. Like, it does seem to be the recurrent thing for Phase 4 to be grief-based motivations.
Well,
Like-
if you think Loki kind of is that because he sees that he caused his mother to die in his future, and that's why he turns, I guess, in the beginning of Loki.
And then Falcon and Winter Soldier obviously losing
Cap.
Cap.
Yeah.
Black Widow has grief in there, I guess.
Grief from like her past in a way where she had to kill Dracov's daughter and the stuff she did as a widow, I guess.
And then obviously the ending.
Yeah. The post-credit scene, yeah.
So unless Eternals have grief of some kind.
Oh, Sam Raimi said that Loki's required viewing for Multiverse of Madness.
Oh,
Oh no!
That
please,
seems-
no.
Well, that sounds like Loki and Sylvia definitely appearing in it.
I don't want to see more Sylvie.
No.
I'd hate
Oh,
Sylvie.
why?
Fuck Sylvie.
And then the third
I would-
reason, I think Wenwu might be the best villain.
Oh, so that was the second reason. So the second reason was Wenwu, he family. That was good.
He hits all of the
Right.
good antagonist boxes. Most importantly, he has something to teach Shang-Chi.
What?
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 I mean, he does teach
what?
Shang-Chi how to kill people, so he does teach something.
And the film, through Michelle Yeoh's Ying Nan, spells this out pretty clearly. Wenwu believes in family above all else, and he's willing to burn down Talo to get it.
And he's willing to kill his family to get family. Yeah, he's really smart.
Big brain.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
And Shang-Chi is on the other side of that spectrum. He wants nothing to do with his family.
So much so that he goes to Macau to protect his sister from his dad. Well, he loved his mother as well. He killed his mother's killer. Like, he does care about what are you talking about? He just doesn't want
And
to
he-
be with his dad because his dad is an abusive piece of crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like.
Nando, you're
And
so...
he finds and he classes his family as also Katie's family.
Yeah, he sees Katie kind of as family because, first person he saw 10 years ago. Matt 10 years ago.
He feels guilt leaving Xialing behind and for doing nothing when his mom was killed, and he
Does he feel good for leaving Sheldon behind? Is that ever a thing? Like, other than him saying, I'm not leaving you again. I'm not letting you go again or whatever. At the... when he's holding her and the Dweller in Darkness is trying to kill her. I don't think there's a single moment where that is actually a thing.
I
Yeah,
don't
no.
remember that bit more. Fucking should be.
Yeah, no, he should feel terrible for abandoning his sister.
He literally, when he first sees her, starts making jokes during the fight. And doesn't
Well,
try to talk
not
properly.
jokes, but yeah. He's like, oh no, we don't have time. Blah, blah, blah. Instead of actually just saying, Dad is coming after us. Stop fighting me, you fag. But, Shang-Chi does not like to get straight to the point. When he first arrives at Talo, he says like, yo, I'm Shang-Chi. This is my sister Xialing. And then he waits for 10 seconds until Katie's out of the car. And this is my friend Katie. Instead of saying, hey, my dad, Wenwu, is coming to invade and we need to stop him. Like, I don't understand why he just doesn't say it straight away. It really annoys me. But yeah, original point being he does not feel guilty for abandoning his sister. That's not a thing that's established.
He feels guilty for leaving Xialing behind and for doing nothing when his mom was killed, and he hates his father for forcing him to kill the leader of the Iron Clan. So Shang-Chi completely abandons his family. And in doing
I would argue he wasn't forced, because he was obviously taken to a different place, and we imply after he killed the person he ran away, but he could have ran away all along.
Yeah, he could have ran away before, which is what he tells Katie he did in the plane, as opposed to, and then we later learn, no, he didn't run away. So yeah, he could have. And also, just small correction, Chronos said it's the Multiverse of Madness writer that said Loki is imperative, so you understand Multiverse of Madness, because it's written by the same person. What's his name? Something like Waldron or something like that.
It's definitely going to have Loki and Sylvie then.
Yay!
Who's the villain going to be? Because we keep hearing it might be Wanda.
I'm
not
sure. Strange Supreme is my guess at this point. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I
I think the finale would debunk that.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, after What If is over, I guess we'll see. Hey, maybe it's the worst version of Hive from What If. It's gonna be teleported from wherever.
so, Shang-Chi throws the baby out with the bathwater. He gives up martial arts, and even after...
Does he? If he does, how the fuck does he win in that bus fight? Nando, can you explain that to me, please? If he just gives up martial arts, he hasn't trained for 10 years, and these trained assassins come after him, he beats all of them. Something wrong, don't you think?
No.
After he comes back to the world of Kung Fu, Shang-Chi does not embrace the style that his mother taught him, perhaps because he wants to create some...
What?
Was that ever in the film?
No, he's 100% playing this out of his ass.
Yeah, like he was literally introduced to it when he goes to Tai Lo, and he was embracing how to try and do it.
Yeah, he was learning from his aunt, how his mom was the only one who could beat his dad, which was weird scene as well, because Shang-Chi just learns how to use the airbending like in 5 seconds.
From the most traumatic moment of his life, but Shang-Chi needs to reconcile his issues with his family to reach his true potential. He needs to engage with the memory of his mother, in stark contrast to Wenwu, whose big issue is his inability to let Li go. He can't accept her death either. Now,
what? He's just pulling this out of nowhere, because I don't think he's ever established in the film that Shang-Chi can't accept his mom is dead. I think he just moved away because his dad was abusive. That's what I got from the film. And everyone just was like, "Oh, he can't."
Did he say?
What? Sorry.
Did he just say that Shang-Chi can't accept or move on from his mom's death?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't he the one who like tells Wenwu like you have to move on, and that's not actually her voice?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. When they first that's actually when they're in the compound, and when we first shows them the book, and he says, "Oh, I've been hearing her voice." Him and Xialing, they say, "No, she's dead." I mean, maybe they don't say it.
Yeah, that was early in the movie. Still.
Yeah, so he clearly has accepted it. What? Yeah. So this is just coming out of nowhere, just trying to contrast the villain and the hero.
Yeah, it's just retarded pulling arse out stuff.
Yeah, it's just conjecture. Yeah. All right. Oh, someone asked if we've seen Critical Star Wars tier list. I have not, but considering we saw the MCU tier list ECUM, I doubt it's gonna be a good tier list for Star Wars.
I saw that video get recommended to me, and I just skipped to the end to see what the final thing was, so I didn't really hear his reasoning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I want to say it's kind of based because he has Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker in F, but he put Mandalorian in S tier. So
Well, general
Oh,
audiences
Uh.
love Mando. So
yeah,
thing with
Key Jang
critical
Bang
is that
Bang.
he should not be a critic of media. Honestly, like
no, not at all.
Yeah,
I saw his.
he's a fun YouTuber to watch. Like just comment on random stuff, but in terms of media, he's not good.
Yeah, I used to really like his like gameplay and commentary stuff, but I haven't watched him in years just because he's really straight away from that.
Yeah,
And I think it's just like Twitch clips now.
A lot of his channel
Like
is just
a lot
Twitch
of
clips now.
his videos, and I think that's really lame.
Yeah, especially when we have something like him reacting to Jay's video where he barely added anything of worth. Kind of like Hassan,
yeah.
but better than Hassan. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty not great, to say the least. So anyway, Wenwu.
Could these guys both benefit from a healthy dose of therapy? Yes. But in Shang-Chi's case, he'll have to settle for his aunt telling him that he is a product of everyone that came before him, his mother and his father.
Yes, indeed. He needed to be told that because he's fucking 2 years old and he doesn't know that he comes from his mom and his father.
see, the best thing you can make an argument for, and even then you're trying to still man the film, is that he's only embraced one side, which is his mother, due to his resentment for his father. But then it's like you're condemning him for not accepting his abusive father.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where I'm okay if he just says that he doesn't want to accept Wenwu. Like, I'm completely fine with it. I just whatever. This is a really strange video, and yeah.
And if he wants to move forward, he needs to embrace, or at least acknowledge, his history and create something new. Sure, Shang-Chi is not breaking all that much new ground, but a villain with a fun power set, a reasonable motivation, and who can...
No, it's not reasonable. Stop. You have not proved any of this. Like, Jesus Christ, Nando.
act as a clear foil to our hero is about as much as you can ask for. And at least for me, Wenwu is all of those things, tied up in a beautiful Tony Leung bow.
That is true. Tony
And
Leung is beautiful. Yingli's actress can confirm that.
Let me from improv just refute this with how I'm going to do it with Ego. Ego has such a cool power set because he's a planet and a celestial, which are basically nearly all dead, but they're immensely powerful to the point where he was able to produce offspring across the universe and thus spread himself. In terms of motivation, he wants to be able to serve what he believes is his function based on learning the universe, but his one weakness was Meredith, who he had to kill, which is like his only regret. And he's a clear foil to Peter, who's all about family and being with one each other, which you could see with the Guardians and how it was when his mum died. Whereas Ego's all about his goals and tried to serve what he believes is the greater purpose. Oh look.
The greater purpose.
Top of my head.
Yeah, but you see, Wenwu was better. That's it. There's no argument.
Cool rings.
Bow.
Yes.
And there are so many excellent Shang-Chi comics you can read that explore the relationship between Zhang Zhu and Shang-Chi. The
I don't
recent
care.
run of Shang-Chi
I could
does
not
this
care less,
really
yeah.
well, even though Zhang Zhu is dead throughout it. And there's another
Spoiler.
Shang-Chi comic that a lot of people I
Man.
talk to haven't read. I consider it kind of a hidden gem. And I talk about it in an extended version of this video that you can find on Nebula.
Yo. It's okay.
There we go.
Hey, hey, Neb made it
Last
honest.
3 minutes.
We called you out.
So
Ned.
can we just skip this? I think we can, right?
Yeah, it's literally just another 3-minute tangent. And ad.
So this,
The
he
world
defended
of
it for 7
bridges.
minutes.
We can. Okay. Yeah. That's
That was awful.
Nebula and
Oh.
Curiosity Stream,
We're doing
and
this
then
month.
Patreon. Okay.
That's what I feel.
So that was
He
that
actually
was a video.
revealed. He actually
I
revealed
learned a
Madvocate
lot.
to be even worse.
Yeah, yeah. Congrats, Nando.
Man.
This is yeah. this is a really bad video. I swear to God. I don't understand all the appeal that what the appeal of Wenwu. A lot of people love him. I really don't understand why. It seems like they're projecting a lot of what they want the character to be onto the film instead of just figuring instead of just using the film itself to try to understand this character. Which, to be honest, is hard to understand this character when he makes absolutely no fucking sense. Like, Nando didn't even talk about the plan is in the first act that makes absolutely no sense.
No, I am beyond baffled still that he said him telling Yingli about, or Yingli telling Wenwu about her entire village's purpose for the past 4,000 years was a nitpick. Or not telling him that, and then he explains precisely why it wouldn't be a nitpick.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. How much longer are you all available?
I don't have anything planned, so you know.
You got another video?
Yes, I actually do.
Yeah.
Wow,
How long is it?
I'm
might stick around.
Let's see. It is whenever it loads. It is 11 minutes long. And yeah, as you can tell, this is already quite something.
Why do they have
very
their
hard,
desktop showing?
Yeah, so the sympathetic villain, and the name of the video is why Shu Wenwu Mandarin is the best written origin story villain in the MCU. Shang-Chi. That's a title. Okay.
If you couldn't work it out, guys.
Yeah. So, let's take a look at this video. This is a video I have not actually seen yet. Usually I watch the videos before we cover them on ECUM, but I thought this one would be fun.
Sympathetic.
I'm a huge sucker for a good villain. I'm one of the people who believe that the hero's journey is nothing if the villain of his story is trash. The better the villain.
I mean, sure.
I wonder why you're talking about Wenwu in this video then.
What? I don't know if I fully agree with that.
Well, I don't think it's worthless, the hero's journey, but it definitely hurts if the villain.
Yeah, the better the villain is, the more enhanced it is. I'm trying to think of an instance where you had like a good hero's journey, but with a weak villain. I guess Tony.
Tony.
Iron Man 1.
Iron Man. I guess that could work. Because Ironmonger is really terrible in the third act, but he has a pretty good. Tony has a pretty good arc. Yeah, I'd say Tony.
The better the hero. The better the hero, the better the story. Think about it. Batman without the Joker, boring.
No.
What?
What? There are so many super interesting Batman villains. What are you saying? What?
Bane.
Fucking Scarecrow. Scarecrow
Penguin.
in Batman in Arkham Knight. He does so much for Batman's character too. Who have a Scarecrow being the villain in that game.
If Batnik was here, he would have a heart attack.
He would. Bruh, this is okay.
Batman's on the level of Spider. I would say he probably exceeds. Yeah, he would exceed Spider-Man in terms of iconic villains. I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Some of the best Batman stories involve the Joker. Superman without Lex Luthor or Darkseid, boring.
What? No, Zod.
No, Zack Snyder just did that.
Yeah. But Zod. Yeah.
Brainiac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just. What?
There are quite a few interesting Superman villains. You don't need to use these two. This is really weird. Batman without Condiment King? Absolute trash.
Some of the best Superman movies or Superman stories involve Lex Luthor or Darkseid. The Flash. Nothing without the Reverse Flash.
No. Oh my God. No. Zoom. Godspeed.
Yeah, I would agree with that if Reverse Flash was the only other speedster villain for him.
Yeah. I think the issue is
And-
he's thinking from a perspective of the CW show where they just keep overusing Thawne so much, they keep bringing him back. And that's the kind of thing we're like, oh, we need Reverse Flash, otherwise the story's not going to be as good.
Yeah, it's just
Captain
weird to me. Godspeed's really iconic in the comics.
Yeah, this is strange argument, but okay.
Captain America, nothing without Red Skull.
What? Oh my fucking
Jesus.
hell!
Oh my god.
He's just 11 minutes of him listing heroes and their main antagonists.
There are just so many heroes who are defined by how great their villains are. And I think Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings really hit the mark by
Really?
making the
Christ.
Mandarin a sympathetic villain.
Sympathetic. Really.
Okay.
Sympathetic.
I don't
Let's
get
see what he has to
sympathy
say.
from an abusive individual that's a complete dumbass.
Who
But
tries
you
to
do
murder
you,
his
guy.
children. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have any sympathy. Whatever.
Who has zero like backstory. It's not like he was abused as a kid. You know, something similar to like Wilson Fisk.
Yeah.
We have nothing.
Yeah,
we have
the-
nothing. He was just evil from the beginning.
Yeah, the video I made on that Fisk scene in season 1, it kind of shows like how Fisk can actually be an understandable character. You can see where his beliefs come from his past experiences. Whereas with Wenwu, it's just like, no, he's just a terrible person for no reason.
And I didn't think he was going to be a sympathetic villain. Like, going into this,
You're right.
I really didn't think that the Mandarin was going to be somebody that I felt sorry for, that I was rooting for in some
Rooting for?
Rooting for?
What?
He's gonna destroy the universe, you fucking deluded cunt.
He's rooting for
Oh my
Mandarin.
God.
No. What is
You
this?
people are scary.
What the
I
fuck?
root for this guy destroying the universe over some delusion. Are you? You're actually mentally retarded. Get therapy, man. This is worse than when people are like, Thanos had a point. This is worse than that.
Yeah, well, at least from Thanos, it's using like a philosophical statement about from the Malthusian perspective. This is just he's going to destroy the universe if he does this because he thinks he heard his wife's voice even though he saw her dead.
And he attempts to kill his son
And his daughter. And his son's friend
And
for no reason.
and an entire village that his wife was born from.
And he kills a bunch of people in golden daggers. And he almost kills people
Brutal.
with destroying the bus. That's not to
This
mention
guy's a
all he did
psychopath.
before. Not to mention all he did before he met Ying Li with killing a bunch of people, influencing politics and whatnot.
This guy's a psychopath, man. Jesus Christ.
CJ, sympathy for the devil, so you know.
I felt sorry for, that I was rooting for in some way, shape, or form. As you see the beginning of the movie.
You just sit quiet for 5 seconds. You see, that's why you edit. Usually, you cut out these parts where you're not saying anything.
Yeah.
This video is hilarious.
As you see the beginning of the movie. The beginning of the movie sets the tone for the type of villain that you think you're going to see. Where he wants power and he wants to rule the world.
Yeah.
And he wants basically everything under the sun.
Which is why he gives it up after 2,000 years where he hasn't conquered anything. Yeah, that is true.
Can we point out, for some reason, he can't remove his desktop and what's it called?
Yeah.
Taskbar?
Oh,
Taskbar?
I know exactly what
ask.
he's doing though. What he did was he prepared the image files on Streamlabs, and then he has Streamlabs on another monitor, and he's just clicking on to show the image.
Okay.
Yeah, as he's
Because I was about to ask, Hold on, are these images him pulling it up live on the stream, or did he edit them in later? And if he did, why didn't he just like cut out the crap in the back and just have it black with the image on top?
Just zoom in, and then it fits the entire screen, which he could have also done with
But I guess-
Streamlabs, but he's dumb.
I guess he it's just a direct rip from the stream. Yeah.
Like, this guy thinks Joker is the only worthwhile Batman villain.
Yeah. No, obviously he is. Court of Owls is shit, Jeb. How fucking dare you?
Well, yeah. What the fuck are they?
But as you progress through the movie, you start to realize that the dude didn't even really want any of that.
What? He spent
What?
2,000 years
Wait,
looking
what?
for it. What do you mean he didn't want any of that? What? What is this argument? What are
Hold on,
you saying?
rewind that. I need to wrap my head around that again.
All right.
The world, and he wants basically everything under the sun. But as you progress through the movie, you start to realize that the dude didn't even really want any of that.
He didn't even
He
want
went to
any-
Talo to conquer it,
He spent
he went to Talo
2,000
to
years
conquer it.
conquering stuff. What?
and found a woman. Like he changes his plan on a dime. It's not
Biggest
like a. Oh my god. Not actually what he wanted.
Hold on, because Fran said the stream might be dead, but I know I've been dropping a lot of frames. Not really anything I can do.
It died for like a brief second or so, but it's still back up now. I just refreshed.
Alright, good,
Yeah,
good.
just refresh, it'll be fine.
Alright, good. Yeah, there's not really anything I can do. My internet's probably being a bit tismy, which is weird because I'm having problems with Discord, but you know, it happens. Yeah. Anyway, back to this wonderful argument.
When he first meets his wife, Ying Li, the fight that they have is fucking beautiful.
It's not.
Like,
When
'cause
we
it had
forget-
nice music and they looked at each other.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's just he doesn't use his rings during that fight like the way he should. It's really funny. Oh, he just doesn't use them like almost at all. It's a terrible fight.
Not like he did at the very beginning when conquering the Romans.
Yeah, well, you see, Ying Li is a better fighter than Roman soldiers. Because the Roman Empire wasn't like that big or anything. Yeah, it's fine.
No.
All the fights in Shang-Chi are beautiful.
Sure. Sure. Whatever, if you say so.
Well, that's subjective, yeah. Okay,
Like,
fine.
they're all fantastic. And I
That's
No.
not subjective. It's they're not fantastic. The choreography's so bad.
love each and every one of them.
Okay.
But
Good for
there
you.
are two fights, in my opinion, that really hit me in the chest. The very first one is between Zhu Wenwu and Ying Li,
Okay.
where he meets her for the very first time. And it's just
Okay.
like this poetry and this flow.
What?
And it's
Is it?
gorgeous to look at. And
Is it? It looked terrible. I hated the way it looked.
Yeah, CGI
She
was
like turned-
shit.
Yeah.
She turned into a Pokemon midway through. She's like a grass type attack.
Yeah.
And that's the first time that you realize, because before that, the look on his face was always like this apathetic look, where he was more or less just bored with everything. He had money, he had power, he had fame, but he felt empty. So he believed that going to Talo and gaining Talo's magic would be able to fill that emptiness.
He just wants power,
What?
dude. You're projecting so much onto the film. None of that is there.
He
Basically, he wants
supposedly
power.
had nothing left to conquer. That's why he went there.
Yeah, it's like, so I have nothing left on Earth. What
because
should
he
I
wanted
do?
magic.
Either space travel or a different dimension. He goes to a different dimension, which would be a lot easier if he had done space travel. But whatever, Wenwu was not the smartest.
Inside of his chest. And then he goes to the gates of Talo and he meets Ying Li and he realizes that I didn't want any of this shit.
Yo, I'm using this frame
not.
on my
Uh,
Shang-Chi video a lot, so yeah. This is a funny image of
what?
his
Wait, this frame right here?
Yes. I use it a lot.
No
in the
fucking way.
Yeah.
This is my thumbnail.
video.
Yeah.
Our
This
videos
shot
will
right here,
complement
except
each
it's,
other.
It's highly edited though. It's gonna be a nice surprise.
Alright. Yeah, I'm just using it as like a usually punchline. Yeah.
Like, I didn't want money. I didn't want power. I just want this. I just want this lady's love. That is all.
Yeah, he's a fucking
Yeah,
simp, and he
but
becomes that out of nowhere. Yo, I just met this lady right now, but I gotta get into them pants. I guess you wanna fall in love with me? I don't know. And then she does. It's beautiful love story, really.
All I want. I want this one random lady in the middle of this murderous man-eating forest.
Oh, so you are acknowledging how stupid this is.
I hope so. I wonder what's gonna follow this.
Love. That is all. And he gets that. And I'm like,
Okay, that's so.
I know.
He spent 2,000 years. Was this the first woman he ever met? He just didn't know what women were. It's like using the internet where most people just assume people are men. It's like, whoa, what the fuck? You're a woman? You can instantly falls in love.
Like, let's be realistic. As a warlord, you're not really going to quote unquote fall in love. You're going to have like plenty of women, like Genghis Khan did, raping a lot of women and having like many offspring.
Well, especially if he
That's what
lives
they
for
kept
2,000
doing.
years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's actually a well put approach. If you think about it. Is he just choosing to be celibate for some reason?
Yeah.
Come to think of it, it's gonna be really hard to believe that this guy who's only wanted power and has been conquering and doing whatever he wants for 2,000 years hasn't raped a woman.
Yeah, no,
It's
he never.
hard
he
to
never
think that he
experienced the touch of a
hasn't
woman.
done that.
He's an incel. Don't worry.
So that makes him even less sympathetic.
I can't believe we just noticed this.
That's hilarious. Yeah. I just want to say, Dominic the Donkey super chatted saying, "Hello, Jeb, Madvocate, Marcus, Tin, and Zod. Hello. I was asleep, so sorry I'm
Hello.
late to the
Hey,
stream.
Dominic.
No problem, Dominic. We've just been hearing about why Wenwu is such a great character, so don't worry. You have not missed a lot of value from these videos, to say the least.
and he gets that. And I'm like, fuck yeah. And then you see him looking at like the newborn Shang-Chi, and he's like super fucking happy, and he has his
Yeah,
kids, and they're
that's good
doing
acting.
DDR inside the house, and you're like, yo, how does this guy end up being like? You start off with a point where you're like, this dude's the villain.
He
And
is the villain. You don't.
That's a
Don't tell me-
great question.
Yeah. How the fuck do you change so
This
much?
dude's the villain. And then you go through this transformation, and you're like, how'd this guy get back to being a villain?
No, that's not what I asked. That's not what I would ask. Is how did he not continue to be the villain throughout the entire film? You're asking the wrong question there.
Magician.
And then you realize that his wife's gone, and you're like, oh no. But I think the movie did a really good job
Structural reaction.
of not telling you how she died too soon. Because it helps with the impact later on. And what I mean is that if the movie had, like, in the beginning just decided that we're going to tell you flat out that his wife gets murdered by gangsters, it wouldn't have had the same impact going forward, because that thought's already in your head. So to you, when you realize that Ying Li has died, you're like, oh, she probably died to like a disease or something along those lines. But then when you discover that she was murdered, you're like, oh shit.
I'm trying to remember. Did they ever mention that she's dead? Before Shang-Chi exposits it in the airplane scene? Because I think he's really just making up stuff. Because as far as I remember, the first time we mentioned his mom dying is that moment in the plane where he exposits his backstory to Katie. So much so that Katie even says, "I'm sorry about your mom," because he never told Katie about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's just making
Yeah,
up. He's making up the
to.
film. There's nothing of what he said is in the film. Okay, dude. Like they're not saving the reveal. When they first mentioned that his mom died, he says that she was killed, and then he was sent to kill the guy who killed her, his mom. Bruh.
Right.
But it's the subtle rage, like that smoldering rage. Because when he gets back and he sees that she's dead, he drops like the bag of groceries in the water, and then he runs up. And
Is what
Shang-Chi
anyone
goes-
would do.
Yeah. You know, you're picking up groceries, you come back to it. You come back, and your wife is dead because you forgot to, pay security for that week. So, Wait, why does he have a cyberpunk background? Dude, I don't know. This is a weird video.
goes into the room later on to talk to him, and he's like sitting at the desk, and I don't know why, but like from like the demeanor, from like how he was sitting in the chair, I was like, he's fucking pissed off.
Wow, yes, that is acting.
I don't know why he's angry. His wife has just been murdered.
What the fuck are you saying? It's like, yeah, no shit, the character's gonna be angry. And Tony Leung is like, yo, I am angry in this scene. If you look at my face, my expression, if you recognize human behavior, you can tell that I am currently not happy. Like, bro.
Actor knows how to display anger.
Such a great film. I swear to God. Acting is made of acting, yes.
Hold on, what? I gotta look up his name because I don't want to butcher it. Tony Leung. Like,
Tony
I
Leung.
remember you from Hard Boiled, and it's been a really long time since I watched a lot of your movies. But this dude is an amazing fucking actor. Across the board, crushes it. And
I just agree with this point. I think he's a good actor. I
Yeah.
don't think he's that amazing, like how people say he is, but he's pretty good in the film.
I mean, the
Yeah.
very next scene, he has the rings back on his hands, and he has his son with him, and they walk. Then they walk into like the pachinko parlor, and they stop in the pachinko parlor, and he looks down at his son, and Shang-Chi looks across, and he's like, "Yeah, Dad, that's him." And he just not even rings are on. He can blast them and kill them all. Create a whip, cut them in half. None of that. It's all about statement. It's all about rage.
But then that's
Wait.
not a comment on acting. That's a comment on the villain's action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I kind of... That is a neat detail I hadn't thought of before. It's like he actually just wants it to be more personal, to actually make them suffer instead of just killing them straight away. I guess that's like kind of neat characterization of how angry he is at that moment. So that's
Yeah.
that's an okay detail. Congrats, you noticed something, video maker. I don't know what your name is. I apologize.
All of that internalized rage comes out in an instant. Boom! Blasts the table. Sends the one guy across the room.
And sends him towards his son. He throws a man towards his son because he's absolutely retarded. But,
Blocks the bullets. Blasts the guy through the window. Whips the guy.
Yeah, and, after that you'd think, maybe people would know about Wenwu after this. Maybe he wouldn't be able to stay in the shadows, but, whatever.
In half. Picks up the other guy. Tosses him across the room. Walks up and over. And this is a point where I kind of felt as though the character had fully changed and reverted back into a villain. Because he had the speech before, which was, your mother thought that I could be a good person, but I can't be a good person because of all the things that I've done. And he instantly kills that dude in front of his son. And that's when I feel as though the father, Zhu Wenwu, died, and he had reverted back to the Mandarin. Or my favorite title for him, the most dangerous man on Earth.
The most dangerous man on Earth. Is really that how you call him? You're just describing the film. Oh yeah, the most dangerous man on Earth. What a great villain.
That's your favorite title? Okay.
Yeah.
And that's when I feel as though his kid's trajectories just completely changed and went in a different direction, where he started just vigorously training his son, not in his mother's way, but in his more close-fisted.
Yes, he's not gonna.
How would he
How would he
train
train-
him in his
yeah.
mother's way? He doesn't know it,
Yeah.
does he?
No,
Or,
obviously.
oh
he
wait,
doesn't.
I think didn't she teach him like in the very first scene, but he didn't.
Well, if he
Like, what was
if
that
she
for?
did.
I doubt he.
Oh, you mean his mom teaching Shang-Chi how to fight? I think that was
No,
just.
he's saying she taught Wenwu at the very beginning a little bit.
Did
I
she?
doubt he's good at it, or that he continued practicing it. Yeah, when after they fight and they like sit down, she's like correcting his stance. So I'm assuming she was teaching him how to do the airbending thing. Which again, why? But that's what he's because he's saying, oh well, Wenwu is teaching his son his way of fighting and not the airbending. But it's like, yeah, I don't think he was like a master at airbending.
Yeah, but it kind of.
Now we know that
I mean,
you can
he
master
shouldn't-
airbending in one day.
Yeah, but he shouldn't even know. He shouldn't even be able to airbend because it requires the power from the Great Protector, the water fucking dragon. That's what gives him the power to do that. So much so that Yingli didn't have her wind powers when she died. If she had, I imagine she would have won that fight. At least I think that's what the film was implying.
Oh, so you can only use it like in Talo and in the entrance?
Yes, that's what I gathered from the film.
Okay, well that just fucks his argument even more,
Yeah.
or his points. Like Wenwu couldn't teach him here even if he wanted to.
Yeah. And Dominic sent a super chat saying the most dangerous man on earth with a bunch of quotation marks. And yeah, that's definitely the correct title to call Wenwu.
I will forever call him that now.
Yes. Okay, let's just continue.
In his more close-fisted, 100% fighting, like raw, I'm here to kill you type of.
Yeah, because he wants to teach him how to kill, not how to dance. What? He wants to teach him to kill his mother's killer. It's the kind of thing where you know you're not really gonna teach how to dance. And I also find it's kind of funny because Yingli beats Wenwu, and it's supposedly because of the way she fights. So you'd think maybe he would try to learn that because she's like the only person who's ever beaten him, as established by Shang-Chi in the film. But I don't know.
Way. So Shang-Chi goes off on his own. He spends 10 years away, but the rage for Zhu Wenwu doesn't die. Like losing.
Oh yeah, I can see the rage in this face. Yeah.
I could see the rage when his dad attacked them at Macau, and then they didn't say anything when he took them with him.
Hey, they touched foreheads.
I
Everything.
could really feel the rage.
Having his son leave doesn't temper his rage, doesn't make him realize he was wrong. Having his daughter leave doesn't temper her rage, doesn't temper his rage again, doesn't make him realize that he's wrong.
Yeah, because he's dumb. Like what? Well, I don't know. It's weird because she says that he kept ignoring her because he couldn't look at her, right? Like she reminded him too much of Yingli, which I suppose her leaving is good for him, like on a mental level. But I don't know.
Then he starts hearing the voices from the Dweller in Darkness. And that's when you realize, and that's when more or less in the movie theater I realized something, which was his character and Dracula from the Castlevania series are really on that same type of trajectory, where there was a point where a quote Dracula said in Castlevania, not only from him hearing the voice of his wife, but later on when he's fighting Shang-Chi. There's a quote that Dracula says, which is, no, I'm sorry, it's not Dracula, it's from Alucard. Which is that this is history's longest suicide note.
This entire catastrophe has nothing but a history's longest suicide note. I don't see how that applies.
Okay.
That's not a comparison or whatever.
Where he basically died the day that my mother died. And I felt that way for Wenwu, where when he walked in and he saw that his wife was gone, there wasn't a Mandarin anymore. Like, the man that he was before had essentially died. And he more or less reverted back to that person, and his body went on autopilot.
Can we just point out, he said there wasn't a Mandarin anymore. That died, but then he went back to the person he was before.
Yeah, I was trying
Which
to wrap my
was-
mind around that. I imagined he just got it wrong and didn't bother correcting himself. He didn't notice that he got it wrong, potentially, which is, why I record videos instead of doing this, redrafting and editing. But I'm confused. So I guess he means that Wenwu died when Yingli died, and he went back to being the Mandarin. Which, sure. That's sure.
Reverted back to that person, and his body went on autopilot.
This I don't understand. What the fuck does he mean by his body went on autopilot?
Like, he just went back to his old ways as soon as Yingli died. He went back to being a conqueror?
But that's not true.
Question mark?
Because he was actively wanting to teach his son how to kill people so he could kill his mom's killer. So it isn't just autopilot. He's doing it for a reason, very actively wanting to do it. So again,
yeah, well, autopilot is just a weird choice of words, but
yeah,
he just means he's not like the kind, loving father and man he was, I guess.
Pretty much, I suppose.
And he was more or less being manipulated by the Dweller in Darkness.
More or less. More or less, sure, whatever.
That's all that there is to it, but more
he simply
or less.
was manipulated, yeah.
And he goes off and just lays waste to Tallow, goes all the way across and just starts beating in that door, fights his son, and only when, no matter what Shang-Chi was saying, he didn't want to hear it. It was only when the Dweller came out and he realized that it was a lie, that he didn't have any fight in him anymore.
What?
And then he fucking died.
Yeah, and then he died because he's just like,
no redemption.
Guess I die.
That he didn't have the rage anymore. Like, he realized his wife was actually gone. There was nothing that he...
Yeah, he's stupid. He saw her body when she died.
That shouldn't be news to him.
Fucking 10 years later, he's like, holy shit, what? My wife is dead? I thought she went out for a pack of cigarettes and it never came back.
I don't know if this is I don't know if this is going somewhere, or if I don't know, because he's just like, so he was evil, and then he wasn't when he was with Yingli, but then Yingli died, and then he went back to being evil, and then he thought he could bring her back, and then he realized she's really dead, so he went back to being good, and it's like, yeah, where is this going?
Yeah, like that is what happened in the film. But why is
he's
that
pointing out what's happening.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's very clear and understanding that when he realizes that he was lied to, that he would be like, oh, I fucked up. Like, why would he like continue like terrorizing them once he realizes the truth? It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Let's see if he's going somewhere with this.
He could do to bring her back. That this entire journey was for nothing. And when the Dweller snatched him up, he looked down and he looked at his son and he realized like how fucking wrong he was. And in his atonement for what he did, he gave his son the rings. And then he chose to die. And that is beautiful fucking writing.
Why?
Like, that is great.
Why?
That is great
Why?
writing. That is great acting.
It's not.
Why?
That's absolutely fantastic. The only other time I can honestly say I've seen good writing for a villain was Killmonger in...
Okay, now.
Alright.
Wait, does he mean in the MCU or does he mean in general? Because he said for any villain. Imagine thinking the only good villains in history are Killmonger and Wenwu. Motherfucker watches
Wait,
No
so-
Country for Old Men and he thinks, nah, Wenwu is much better. This is insane.
So he's saying there's like a redemption arc right there when he gives Shang-Chi the rings, but I thought he kind of gave it to him because he realized he's dead. Like he's been snatched up by
Oh no,
the
I thought it
dweller
was
in darkness.
it was like him sacrificing himself, being like, okay, so I want to die and I'm gonna give you the rings, even though he could have saved himself if he had used the rings. That's the way I rationalize it, because otherwise he just uses the rings and free yourself.
I thought it was like he realizes, or like it was like a last second realization that he's about to die, so he just gives it to him. But that's not really much of a redemption arc.
Well, yeah.
Like they should have kept him alive a little longer to make it feel that way more, but he's immediately killed off.
Yeah, it's weird. The arc with Wenwu is not really well developed, so I don't really know what the point they wanted to make was at that moment.
Absolutely fantastic. The only other time I can honestly say I've seen good writing for a villain was Killmonger in.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
But holy,
Oh yeah, he did not amend that. He says he has to mean the MCU, right? Like,
Yeah.
I swear to God, please tell me you mean the MCU, because imagine fucking watching No Country for Old Men and thinking Killmonger is better. I just, what the fuck?
holy shit! If this is the level of villains where we're getting complex villains now, if this is the level.
What's complex about Wenwu? He wanted to conquer Earth, and then he didn't for no reason. Then he was like, yo, my wife's dead. I guess she's alive, actually, so yeah. And that is his character.
Complexity everywhere.
I think it's the kind of thing where people say the same thing about Kylo with the sequels, where they think he's a complex character simply because he flip-flops from each scene with his beliefs. And
Yeah, complex is not being truly evil and sometimes dancing on the good side.
Yeah.
Kingpin.
Completely ignoring any setups or, specific things that set that up.
Yeah.
Kingpin is so complex.
And he's not really like a good person or ever made out to, like, go to the good side of stuff. Like, he always is just looking out for himself and wanting to rule New York and Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, that's like you did the scene where he kills
Ben Urich.
Ben Urich, and tells you so much about his character.
Yeah, it's that scene alone already has more complexity than Wenwu had in the entire film.
Yeah.
Villains that we're going to be getting going forward. Well, I'm here for it. 100%. Because one of the reasons why I didn't like Black Widow was that Black Widow didn't have a good villain.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh.
That's
he
Dreykov is better than
he can admit he admits that, but he thinks Wenwu is a good villain. Okay.
I just had no clue what his standards would be. He probably just watches a film and is like, yo, I like that. And that's how he forms his opinions around.
Also didn't have good twists, but it didn't have a good villain. And not a memorable villain. Because your hero is only as good as the villain.
Oh, Tin died.
I sound like Professor Zoo.
They did.
I sound like Eobard Thawne when I say that. But it's the honest truth. Like, you remember.
I think he doesn't like Dreykov. Wait, was he referring to Dreykov when he said it didn't have a good villain?
Yeah.
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 Wouldn't people consider Taskmaster a villain? Or
I guess
maybe not.
I guess it's like a secondary villain. She's just a henchman for Dreykov, so I guess Dreykov would be the main antagonist.
So since Dreykov never danced on the light side, he never questioned whether he could be a good man. That's why he's not a complex villain.
Yes, exactly. He just wanted to use women. That's bad.
Remember your heroes, but for damn sure, you're gonna remember the villains that your hero takes on. And Zhu Wenwu the Mandarin, holy fuck, if he is not one of the best villains that Marvel has put on screen.
Yeah,
He's not. No.
Okay.
sure, if you say so. Oh, that was the video. So that was,
Oh, fine.
yeah, that was an interesting
underwhelming.
video. Yeah, that was quite something. I'm glad we covered that because that was funny. His arguments are insane. Motherfucker said that he rooted for Wenwu at some point. So not the most well-adjusted person, but
Yeah.
it happens. But imagine if he
That's
said
much
he
more
also
enjoyable
rooted
than
for
Mandela,
Killmonger because he said Killmonger is also a great villain, and we know Killmonger wanted to genocide white people.
Yeah, I mean, when you ignore like the plot or anything that goes into detail or specifics, you can make anything sound good. My Tommy Wiseau video.
Yeah, pretty much. People are asking about Thought. He was not able to make it today. It's he will potentially be on the 1 year. We'll see, but he could not make it today. He was having to deal with something. But this was stream turned out pretty well. We covered 2 fantastic videos about Wenwu. I think we're all convinced now that Wenwu is a pretty fantastic villain just overall. So I'm quite happy with that.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad our
Who
minds
would
were
be the
changed.
worst as outside of Kang? Who is the worst MCU villain?
Oh, I'd say easily it's Wenwu. Kang is the
Yeah,
worst, and then Wenwu.
Because that's what I was thinking. I was like, Wenwu has to be in the bottom 3.
Yeah, no, he breaks the world building the most other than Kang. Like Kang just breaks reality, and Wenwu breaks everything relating to Earth and its history. So yeah.
Yay!
And who'd be next? Because I'm not sure anyone who breaks the world building nearly as much as those 2.
Draco.
Dreykov does contradict a lot, but I'm not. Let
I
me.
don't know.
Huh. Yeah. Not sure. Yeah, because then it's just like the poorly written villains instead of just like the ones that destroy everything. They're just like, oh, I guess their motivations are pretty shit. Guess like Aldrich Killian could be there potentially. Something like that. But yeah. So anyway.
I'd say Dracov.
Yeah,
That sounds right.
Yeah. Yeah, his motivations are really stupid, and he does ruin the world building, contradicting like stuff with Hydra and shit. But anyway, thanks everyone for joining us today on this ECUM where we covered Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. We will see you next time on October 4th for the ECUM 1 year anniversary. It's gonna be quite a special stream, planning a lot of guests, planning a lot of videos we'll watch. And you hear our takes on The Haunting of Bly Manor, and hopefully on Midnight Mass if we've already finished it by then. I mean, I already have, but these 3 here, the hosts, have not finished it. We haven't actually started it. But yeah, it's been a very good stream. Thank you, Madvocate, for coming on. It's pretty fun talking about Shang-Chi with you for like the 1,000th time.
Of course.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll catch y'all next time. Madvocate's channel is in the description if you want to check him out, but though you probably already know him. And yeah, we'll see y'all later. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.